And he's like, okay, stop. Where he literally just grabs her like by her neck and just I don't know how he grabbed. I think he reaches up and he grabs her by the groin. He's like, and she's like, ooh, and he just lifts her up into the air like this. She's like, ah. it's just great. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. But now, my friends, we got to go ahead and get to the big central topic of today's stream. And that, my friends, is a scene by scene breakdown, chat, to Fast and Furious Presents, heavy emphasis on that colon, chat, the colon's returned, Hobbs and Shaw. Look, the boss of the every new Sonic game adds a new character being inserted into erotic Sonic 50. Exactly, it's just the content creates itself. Very excited about it. I got to upload some new videos to my OnlyFans chat. Please check it out, Only Juicy Fans. Yes, you see F9 twice? Nice, man, nice. But chat, before we go ahead and get into this review, I have to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen Fast and Furious Presents, Hobbs and Shaw? The spinoff, the first spinoff movie, technically the first spin. I mean, and we're gonna call Better Luck Tomorrow. Let's say the first one that's actually was based in the franchise to begin with. Let's do that. Spinoff of the Fast and Furious franchise. Rockbirdy says, nope. Good to see you, Rockbirdy, by the way. Hope you're doing well. Chris just actually saw it for the first time like 6 hours ago. Whoa, that's amazing, man. I'll be posting my commentary. You can watch it again with my commentary and video commentary. DJ Arkson only saw the trailer with the boss, the only one I've seen completely. Brando, have not seen this Vroom Vroom film. That's fun. See your Spock? Me. I was like, gamers, you know I did, son. And Ducky, not I. If Tyrese wasn't there, Tyrese was not there. So maybe, yes, I have. Jason Bear, I've watched it once in theaters. Kirby Jack, nope. Austin, I have, bro. That boy, I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw. Had no interest in it. So, okay, fair enough. Remember, I read a book about Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Does that count? I'll allow that. You know of him, and perhaps his works. So that's kind of, in a way, you kind of saw. You can expect certain things from The Rock. A raised eyebrow, which they make fun of in this. Him being very muscular and very sweaty. I imagine they talked about that in the book. So in a way, you did see his performance. It's true. What happened? The Rock had to feature his dog in this movie. Lo was like a stipulation. He's like, yes, it's contractually obligated to show the dog. We saw that, yeah. We'll talk about that scene too. I love the comparisons to the morning routines of Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw. I thought that was funny. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Divine Miss Klein, thank you for the 3 gifted subs. Wow, congratulations, Suripia, Baby GTG, and Voice of Freeson. Oh, Joyce of Reason. Joyce of Reason. No, Voice of Reason. Thank you. Divine Miss Klein, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Hope you're doing very well on this fine Wednesday evening, this fine hump day evening. Currently reviewing Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and Furious Presents, Hobbs and Shaw. Have you seen this movie, Divine Miss Klein? Thank you again for your generosity. I do appreciate that. See, my old school movie pass buster. Oh, shit. That's the way to see it. Hey, Austin, hey, everyone. Good to see you, Divine Miss Klein. Chad, I did see this movie in theater, and I remember really enjoying it. I really liked it at the time. Like, it definitely has some issues. There's no doubt. We'll get into the nitty-gritty details of those issues, Chad, because I think a lot works in this movie. A lot works in this movie, and a few things don't, or a few things are, like, very hit and miss. And we'll get into all that. But I personally, Chad, I thought this was a nice palate cleanser after the fate of the Furious, if you will, because the fate of Furious really does act as a springboard for this spin-off movie, Chad, because that film, like, what I liked about the Fate of the Furious was the camaraderie, was the back and forth, the chemistry between Jason Statham and The Rock. I really liked them. I was like, oh shit, you're just setting their movie up. And then you had some of the other stuff. And that movie just, I don't know, the Fate of the Furious is, I always think back, it's not a bad movie. It's just, I think the pacing's off, and the whole Dom betrayed the family, bro. It's like, we know he's not really betrayed the family. It just feels tired. Well, this one's like, okay, this is a lot of fun. It definitely, it doesn't feel exactly like the Fast and Furious. It definitely has its own sense of personality. This is the most comedic film in the franchise. It's more of like an action buddy cop, action buddy adventure. You know, maybe something more akin to maybe not as funny, but it's you could definitely feel the influence of something like Lethal Weapon or 48 Hours or the Rush Hour series. I was like, okay, it has more of that DNA than some of the Fast and Furious DNA. It's like these two guys who just don't get along and who come from two different worlds. And they're forced to work together because of the specific MacGuffin. That's what this movie is. And for the most Tango Cash, sure. So many buddy cop films, so many buddy action movies. It has a lot of that DNA. And I think for the most part it works. There's a few things that doesn't. You had the whole back and forth between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham, and sometimes it's like, ooh, they got some good zingers in there, but I think they do it too much, and it feels like that's the big problem, because there are so many scenes in this movie. It's like, I feel like you could just cut a lot of this out, and you'd have like an even shorter film, probably the one that's like maybe a little under 2 hours, which, this movie's a little over 2 hours. It's like, you make this you cut out some of this superfluous material, or maybe just include some more of these cameos, which I actually really found funny. At least they work for me personally. I was like, ooh, shit, you're setting up like other characters for potential films, potential allies, potential family, chat, and that would have been better. But some of the dialogue that is exchanged between The Rock and Jason Statham doesn't always work, and honestly, it just feels like two middle schoolers insult each other. Like literally, there's a point where even Jason Statham or someone called The Rock a doo-doo head. You're a poo head. It's like, are you serious? Is this where we are? It's where it's come to. So I always thought that was I think that's a little too much, but it introduces a lot of cool characters, chat. Like Vanessa Kirby, I think personally, she comes out smelling like roses in this movie. I really like her character as another Shaw sibling. Jesus Christ, Helen Mirren. How many Cockney accented either super criminals, super villains, or spies have you produced? It's crazy. Her role in this movie, I think, is really cool. And how they do the MacGuffin with her is ridiculous and things. But I just love her camaraderie, her chemistry with both The Rock and her brother. Deckard Shaw, played by Jason Statham. I like their little dynamic. And honestly, when she's with them, it's like, because when Deckard and The Rock are together, when Jason Statham and The Rock together, it's like they're good, but sometimes not all the jokes hit. But when she's in the middle of them, it's like, okay, that was really the added ingredient that you needed. And I feel like, okay, if you expand this team a little bit more, and I think everything will work in sync with each other. It's like, this is a good, for the most part, works on its own. It's a very entertaining film, but it also feels like a little prototype. They're figuring things out. That's what it really is, chat. They're just trying to figure things out with this film, and I think they did a good enough job. It's super over the top. It's super fun, but there's a few little quirks they gotta unravel. But they're getting there, chat. And I think characters like Vanessa Kirby and some of the other people we'll see in here will lead it to great success later on, chat. But now, by the way, give you a background on this film, chat. At least on the production side, it's directed by David Leitch. Now, I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, but David Leitch, you may not know the name, but you have seen his work, chat. He's one of two directors who did the first John Wick film, chat. He also directed Atomic Blonde. He also directed, funny enough, was Charlize Theron, who was also a villain in the Fast and Furious franchise. He also directed Deadpool 2, which makes sense for certain connections to how certain actors are in this movie. It's like, oh, that's why they're here. It makes sense now. And I think what else is he doing right now? I think he has another project coming up. Doing another movie called Bullet Train. So we'll see what that's all about. I'm not familiar with that, but that's happening. I have no idea what it is. But hopefully he'll direct Hobbs Shaw too. Apocalypse, thank you for the 100 biddies. Really appreciate that. Welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Currently in the middle of my review for Hobbs and Shaw. And the thing is, chat, you know that David Leitch is directing this film, or one of the two guys who did John Wick, because wow, this movie's action is, I think, really well choreographed, chat. And his use of color, that's the thing, rewatching this again. And I've just been watching all the Fast and Furious movies, and this one, it's I just love. It's a simple thing to say, seems superfluous, but I just love this film's color palette because it's constantly fucking changing all the time. They're always in so many new locations, and how they get to those locations in the span of 5 minutes makes no fucking sense because time, chat, is the true villain in this film. But I just love his use of colors for how he separates action scenes so you don't get confused of what's actually happening. He does some really smart technical things to immerse you in each scene, but also enough to separate you. He's oh, I know exactly where all these are taking place, and I don't feel like it's all mixed match and it's all jumbled. He gets actors who actually know how to fight. or at least he trains actor, he gets the right people, the right choreographers to train these fucking actors and get the right stunt doubles where it all looks really goddamn good. Like, I just love all the action scenes with The Rock and with Jason Statham and Vanessa Kirby and Idris Elba. And yeah, there's some CGI in there, Chad. You can tell when it's CGI when it gets super ridiculous, when they're literally using fucking super power. There are scenes where they have super strength. And it's like, how the fuck is this happening? There's a scene where The Rock literally grabs a chain and is holding onto a car. A chain, by the way, that's connected to a fucking helicopter and holding it in place going, ah! And it's like, that would ordinarily just rip that man apart, Chad. Like, he's a mountain. He's a Samoan mountain. We all know this. But he would be torn in two. But it's like, hey, it's fucking wonderful. We love it. But the CGI, like, hey, I know that's a CGI scene, but it looks good. It's like, this is not cheap CGI, Chad. This is not like 2000s era Fast and Furious CGI. This is pretty good looking. So on technical level, I think does a great job. When it comes to the script, the story, not so much. It's always been, his weakness, I think. Movie performed pretty well critically. It got good reviews. Got mostly good reviews, mixed to good. And it did well commercially, Chad. Did not quite meet the billion of the previous two entries in the Fast and Furious franchise, but it did make $760 million. $200 million budget. What's funny, there's some weird history of this film. So when it was coming out, you had one particular actor from the Fast and Furious franchise who was quite upset that this film was happening, and it was Tyrese Gibson. And he was saying how it's like, you're trying to break up the family. And I don't know, Tyrese was going on about something. I know he goes on these ego trips. I know he's a little hysterical sometimes. And when the film debuted and it made like a respectable amount of money, I think at the time, he's like, well, you guys tried. It was a shot and it was a hit. It was a miss. It was a miss. But we can have you come back to the family. And the movie ended up doing. He went full basement Tyrese on that. But the movie's a success. And they're obviously going to be doing a sequel. They set up a sequel, chat. I mean, they're like, here's the groundwork and go with it. And I'll even tell you about who I think like the villain of the next movie is going to be, because they had plans for a particular character to voice someone, chat. We'll get into that in just a bit. But overall, I really enjoyed this film. It's not in my top 3 Fast and Furious films, chat, but I think it's a really entertaining action movie. And maybe if you didn't like it the first time, I'll give it a second chance. Like, not everything works about it. We'll go into detail about that. But I really dig this action film. But chat, we must start, my friends. And we start, chat, and Mario England we do. We start with Hattie Shaw, chat. She's leading an MI6 team to take this fucking deadly virus, chat. It's the most, and hits too close to home. This deadly virus, if it's released, it will infect, and this is said by one of the characters in the movies, chat. I think his name is Dr. Nerdy Guy. Dr. Nerdy Guy says later in the film, if this is released, if it goes airborne, it will infect the entire world's population in 1 week. So it's like, fuck. We got to make sure not to, release this, okay? And so, good old Hattie Shaw, Chad, of course, the sister of one Deckard Shaw. We don't know this yet. We don't know this, but I'm telling you, Chad. Played by Vanessa Kirby. She's leading her fucking team to get this virus, and they get the fucking virus. Like, good job, team, we did it. But oh no, Chad, Black Superman shows up. Idris Elba comes in, and he just is strutting his stuff, Chad. He's in full black halo armor, Chad. Like, literally, like his visor is that orange-yellow color of Master Chief's helmet, Chad. And he just comes in with his hands raised up and shit, and he's just strutting his stuff. And Vanessa Kirby, Hattie, she's like, who the hell are you? And I love that we've gotten so simplified, because this just shows you, like, the movie's just like, again, we don't care. This is where we are with this franchise. And we are now just going to state proudly what each character is. And where the first line of dialogue out of Idris Elba's mouth, out of his lips, is, I'm the bad guy. It's like, all right, that's perfect. Bad guy. Just, and then he starts to lay down a smackdown, chat, where, again, he has superhuman abilities. It's fucking weird. Where his eyes literally start to glow yellow, and we see that he has a video game Master Chief Halo HUD, chat, which he can read out everyone's, like, bio statistics, like what they would do. Like, if someone throws a punch, it slows down for him. I don't know how. Time, chat. He has time powers. And he can predict, like, the trajectory where it's going, and he stops it, and he grabs the person, snaps their arm in half, and just, like, punches his fist through their faces. And he does this to everybody. And fucking Hattie's like, what the fuck? And she shuts they found the virus in a truck. So she shuts this giant steel door, and Idris Elba's like, "It's not gonna stop me." And he just starts punching the door, chat, and like literally making a hole through it. Like, again, what is so amazing about this, chat, and all the respect and admiration to these filmmakers, like, you know, I'll give a lot of power to Universal, what they been able to create, chat, where we went from a bunch of drag racers who stole DVD combination VHS players on the side and Panasonic TVs on the side to now literal fucking super people, chat. Superheroes that have been injected with literal nanomachines. Nanomachines get a big play in this movie, chat. Hideo Kojima should get some money because they mention nanomachines a lot. And like super robo spines, eyes that have like Master Chief-esque HUDs so you can predict what your enemy's gonna do. That's the state of everything. Again, DVD combination VHS players to literal superhuman beings. It's mind-boggling. It's like it evolved or devolved depending on who you are, but I got to give them respect for that because what they do with this franchise, incredible. But he's busting through this fucking steel door, and at this point, Hattie's like, I got to get the fuck out of here at this point. And so she starts driving this car. She jumps into the front seat, chat. She starts driving, goes through a fucking concrete wall. By the way, a lot of cool practical effects. David Leitch, again, he used a lot of CGI in this movie, but he also used a lot of practical effects. And the practical effects stuff looks really fucking good. CGI looks good. It's over the top and stupid, but it's like nothing looks bad. Nothing looks cheap in this movie. It's like this is just a very slick looking action film. And so she punches through this concrete wall, chat, while, you know, Idris Elba's trying to get through it, just ripping apart steel like it's nothing, like it's tissue paper. Thank you, Carmi Hazel! You subscribed for 9 months. You just front pooped out a Twitch, baby, Carmi Hazel. Yay! What's the name of our Twitch baby, Carmi Hazel? I need to know. I mean, for The Rock coming in the front is bad. No, he did indeed. And he was just sweaty. He was just wet. It's like this literal fucking water, just perspiration just dripping down his face. He's like, are you okay? Do you need to sit down? Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Jesus Christ. Color Me Chris. Is that the name of our Twitch baby, Carmi Hazel? I must know these things. But good to have you here, Hazel. Hope you're doing very well. She ends up crashing the thing. He falls out the back of it because plot reasons. And she crashes. She's like, there's nowhere to go. Because she knows this guy is going to grab the virus, and she can't like transport it in this big heavy case. So she does the only thing that she can think of, chat. She literally grabs this nozzle that connects to the big old virus tube and injects it into her hand. And she goes, "Ooh, that's good virus." And she puts the virus inside of her tum-tum, chat. She's like, oh, I'm all filled with nanomachines. And so she waddles away, chat. She waddles away just filled with the virus. And Idris Elba's like, what the fuck? I need this to do evil bad guy things. Oh no! I gotta track down this Hattie. And so this is very weird. He goes back to the facility where he like killed all these guys except for one guy, and he goes up to these guys like, he's trying to reach for his walkie-talkie because it's like the guy is like, what's happening? What's going on? Agent Hattie Shaw, what's going on? And this is weird to me. This is all he does to make sure that there is a manhunt after Hattie Shaw. He grabs the walkie-talkie and he speaks into it. He's like, he just speaks like he does, like Idris Elba. You know, Cockney accent Idris Elba, he does. He's like, it was Hattie Shaw. She betrayed us. She took the virus. Click. And apparently that's all they fucking needed to know that she is the bad guy. It's like, that's it? You don't even know who this guy is on the side. Apparently, chat, Idris Elba just assumes that all Cockney accented people sound alike. That's a racism right there, chat, if I do say so myself. Darkseid, think of my base. Where's Joseph Gordon-Levitt? His nanomachines, right? Oh, so it's like, okay, there is a international manhunt for one Hattie Shaw, chat. They gotta take her down, and her tummy is just filled with nanomachines. But you know who do we need to fucking get to track her down, chat? Oh, you know who. Luke Hobbs, chat, former special agent Luke Hobbs, and of course, chat, mercenary, spy, terrorist, Deckard Shaw. And this is cool. Because what David Leitch does, he does like the morning routine of each character, chat. So we cut The Rock, he's, I don't know, California somewhere or some shit. And we also see Deckard Shaw, and it's like it's split between them, chat. And again, his use of color is really smart here because we see that The Rock, he's in bed. We're seeing that thick brown mountain body, as he describes it, chat. He's got his dog in bed with him. He's all laid out. We see Deckard Shaw, his color palette, blue, gray. He's in London, chat. Of course, that's the color palette. He has a beautiful woman in bed with him. And they both do their own morning thing. They get up. I love this. And the use of music, chat. This probably has the best soundtrack out of any of the Fast and Furious films. Like, this one is really, really good. Got to give it to David Leitch for picking this. It just fits the scene really well here. And they both do their whole thing where they're like, okay, we're going to go and get some breakfast. You know, and Deckard Shaw, he goes into his kitchen, starts making himself an omelet. Like, it looks delicious, making himself some coffee. The Rock, what he does, what Luke Hobbs does, he takes some coffee grounds, Folgers coffee grounds, chat, opens it and takes a big fucking wooden spoon and just starts shoveling it in his mouth and eating. It's like, what kind of abomination monster, chat, would just start shoving coffee grounds into their mouth and eat it? Jesus Christ. We then see him doing the Rocky Balboa egg diet, chat, where he just fills up this glass filled with eggs and just chugs them, all those raw eggs. I mean, I like a little bit of egg whites, of course, in my whiskey sour shit, my alcoholic beverages, but Jesus, it's a little much, chat. It's a little much. And I'd rather have the life of Deckard Shaw. I mean, he seems to have it right. They then go on into their respective vehicles, chat, and they head to where they're going. The Rock, he goes to the gym. He's pumping all that fucking iron, chat. He's all perspiring. He's super sweaty. Hobbs, he's like, I'm going to go to the pub and get myself a beer. He services himself, chat. He goes behind the bar. He's like, does he own this bar? Does he own this pub? I don't know. Maybe he's on really good terms with the bartender there, chat, the owner. And he pours himself a pint. But I just love how we see how different their lives how different their lives are. The use of color for each scene, the soundtrack. It's like okay, it feels different, and it feels a little more comedic than the Fast and Furious films. I just really like so far. Really like how this is working, chat. Eventually, we cut back to The Rock, and he's taking his little daughter, chat, to this diner for breakfast or something. And they're going to have pancakes and stuff. And the daughter, I'm going to call her Pebble. I'm going to call her, that seems right, Chad. The daughter should be called Pebble. And Pebble, she has a little school project that she's working on. It's like, create your family tree. And so we see her family tree. She drew that. Very articulate, by the way. Very articulate kid. I like the detail on the tree and the leaves and shit. It's a pretty good job. And she goes, here, Dad, look, here's our family tree. And it's literally just her and her dad. And then a question mark. And he goes, yep, that's our family. No mention of the mom. We have no idea. Do they ever mention, like, what the fuck happened to the mom? I don't know. I don't know what happened to the mom, Chad. That is a mystery. I don't know. It might have been mentioned in this movie. I might have missed it. Might have been mentioned in a past film. I don't recall. But she ain't in the fucking picture no more. They don't. Okay, there you go. She ain't in the picture no more. And she's asking, it'd be nice to know, like, about, like, my family. Do we have any family? He's like, no, Pebble, we don't have any family. She's like, Dad, stop yelling at me. He's like, I'm sorry. Would you like pancakes? She goes, yeah. And they get pancakes, and all the servers come out, and are like, all right, here you go. So he's like, no, that little, and she's like a little pile of pancakes right there, like mini pancakes. That's for my daughter, and they put it down. And then they put out this giant fucking pile of pancake shit. It's like this fucking big, and go, boom. And it just sits there, and bacon, eggs. He's like, Daddy's got to go to work. He's like, nom, nom, nom. He just starts stuffing himself, Chad. It's cheat day. Cheat day. She's been guarded by top men. It's true. Strangest you think with the 5 biddies, like 5 corgi biddies. So not Nick Cannon, no. So I saw that stack, and I was like, yo, right? It's huge. He hungry, Chad. He starts munching with his little girl Pebble. We then cut back to where Deckard Shaw, he goes to visit his mom. His mom, chap, Mrs. Shaw, played, of course, by the great Helen Mirren, Chad, who looks fucking like Cruella de Vil. She has somehow ended up in prison again, Chad. We don't know why. I assume it's because of the 101 Dalmatians she turned to a coat. That's all I can think. And he gets on the phone with his mom, and she's like, why are you here? Why are you visiting me? He's just like, I just want to make sure that you're doing okay and everything. She's like, the most important thing in life is family. You know this. Dominic Toretto told me. And he's like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? And she says, there's a man that came by here. He wants to talk to you about Hattie. And by the way, Owen Shaw is not fucking mentioned throughout this entire film. They don't. It's like, he is fucking forgotten. I think he's been retconned out. Like, you would expect, like, you know, Hattie or Deckard Shaw to mention Owen at one point in the movie, you know, because they're all siblings and shit. But nope, not there. Like, you are not a part of this. Maybe he'll show up in the sequel. I don't know. Just want to say hi, Mama Bro. Mama Bro. And she's like, I want you to help. There's this man that came by. He wants to speak to you. And he's like, all right, Mom. And she said, by the way, can you bring me some C4? I would really appreciate it. I need to bust out of this prison and go after the rest of them dogs. And he's like, I'll think about it, Mom. Okay, I'll think about it. And he leaves ship. And then we come back to America, where the fuck we are. By the way, the diner that they're in looks really eerily similar to the diner from Pulp Fiction. I don't know if they were trying to emulate that, but I got it. And The Rock, he's finishing up his pancake, chat. Little Pebble, she's finishing up her homework. And then who do we hear, chat? Whose lovely voice do we hear and see appear before our very eyes, chat? Takes a seat right next to Little Pebble and The Rock, chat. Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds appears, chat, as Agent Locke. And he says, Hobbs, I have a mission for you. So he's like, Ryan Reynolds, I can't do it. He's like, Ryan Reynolds, like, listen, I'm doing a favor for the director here, and that's why I'm participating in this film. Now, the thing is, chat, and Ryan Reynolds appears throughout the entire film, mostly in like a jokey capacity. I hope that they're setting up like a film where, you know, the next one has, you know, Jason Statham, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, Vanessa Kirby, another person that appears in this movie, chat, and also another, Idris Elba comes back, because of course he will, because they're like, his death is like, oh, he died. It's like, no, he didn't. He'll fucking lie to me. There's a short individual who makes an appearance in this film, chat, we'll talk about. He's got connections, man. He's got connections. He's with the Warlocks. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I really do truly hope that they bring him in. Wouldn't it be amazing if Ryan Reynolds shows up in Fast 10 and some other characters too? I would be like, yes, let's keep making this family bigger. This is how it'll continue on, Shay. If you want to continue this on, just get a whole new family in there. You could see them putting the pieces together, creating a big family. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, another one. They made sure to keep him and the little guy out of all the marketing. They did. They did a great job with it. I was very surprised. Everyone in the theater was like, whoa, Ryan Reynolds. But it makes sense why he's in this chat, why you know, another person was supposed to be here. Because, you know, David Leitch directed Deadpool 2, and him and Ryan Reynolds got along very, very well. But he sits down, and he explains to by the way, the humor here, I think, really does work for me. Where he's like, Dwayne, I need you for this super secret mission, okay? He's like, I'm retired. And he's like, you don't understand, there's this virus, like Little Pebble. There's this virus out there that will literally melt people's insides, okay? It'll melt our insides, and it's not good, and I need your dad to help us, Little Pebble, because it'll not only melt my insides and your dad's insides, but it's gonna melt your insides too. And she's like, oh no, my insides. He's like, it's not gonna happen. He's like, it will. You need to help me. He's like, you motherfucker, don't fucking scare my daughter. He's like, okay, but help me. He's like, fine, Ryan Reynolds, I will help you. And so, especially with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock I know, it's great. I love their little interaction. And the whole thing with Ryan Reynolds, they try to establish that, oh yeah, they've known each other for years. And Pebble's like, your dad never mentioned me to you. He's like, he never mentioned me? Don't you remember when we got like matching tattoos? And The Rock's like, what? And we see Ryan Reynolds takes off his shirt, and he has the same the giant Samoan arm tattoo and like chest tattoo. And The Rock's like, when did you get that? He's like, it really hurt, but I did it for you. It's like, it's amazing. So I hope he has that fucking tattoo in the sequel. It's great. Kirby Jack thing with the 5 biddies. Like, the whole exchanges between Ryan Reynolds and The Rock works really, really well for me. And The Rock's like, okay, and I'll help you. But what I need to do is like, okay, you need to find this person, but there's a special contact in London that I need you to meet with. You're going to work together. And The Rock's like, I work alone, which is fucking bullshit, by the way. They do not work alone, chat. Not in any capacity. He's worked how many times? He's always had a team. Even before the Family Bro, he had a goddamn team. And they got murdered in Fast Five, obviously, by Reyes and the cockroach guy, Zippy Bob, or what the hell his name was. But he's like, I work alone. It's like, no, you don't. You fucking liar. While. And he's like, okay, it's like, but let's just meet with him and see what happens. He's like, okay, cool. We then cut to Deckard Shaw, chat, Jason Statham, and he meets with Peter from Deadpool 2. Remember that? I forget that actor's name, but the guy that played Peter, who was just like the ordinary schlubby guy. It's like, X-Force, Wakanda forever, all that shit. He plays the contact there, and he convinces Shaw to meet with this American contact at this location in London. And he's like, you don't remember me, do you? And he's like, I've killed a lot of people. He's like, all right, well, good luck with you. And then Peter and Ryan Reynolds call each other, and they're like, so did the meeting go well? It's like, yeah, he doesn't remember me. 17 years ago, in Moscow, he stabbed me 7 times, but I don't think he recalls. He's like, okay, cool. And he's like, well, I'm sending my guy over there right now. He's like, all right, nice. You think they're gonna hate each other? He's like, probably. Oh, by the way, I forgot a scene. No fucking way. Yeah, that's right. That's what he says. No fucking way. He stabbed you 7 times? 7 times. I still have the scars. Oh, my God. There's also a really cool sequence, and again, the color schemes. So after their, day of their morning routine, they both do, this action scene with them, where The Rock, he goes and fights these Asian gangsters or something, and where his whole scene was really, really pretty. So to differentiate them, they keep cutting back between these 2 action scenes where Jason Statham, he goes and visits this London crime lord or something. In The Rock scene, it's all neon blues and greens and purples, while Jason Statham's action scene is all orange and gold and yellows. It's I just love how starkly different they were. And again, the choreography for each scene looks great. Jason Statham spends his whole time using the champagne bottle just to beat the shit out of everybody, and it doesn't break until it finally he's like, oh, I thought this would break, and he drops it and it finally smashes on the ground, and he does this whole Roger Moore era James Bond interrogation technique. He's holding this one guy by his fucking tie. He's like, tell me what I want to know. He's like, oh, no, nothing. He fucking drops him. Actually, he doesn't drop him. So they try to retcon Deckard Shaw a lot in this movie, where it's I don't kill people, I don't need to. It's bull's fucking shit. You kill all sorts of people. And he ties them up and stuff. While The Rock, he grabs the one Asian gangster and he holds him down and he tattoos him. Oh, he has a great line where they have this female tattoo artist, and she's done up her her top of her chest right here, chat. And so are her big old bazungas on full display. She's like, oh my God, what are you gonna do? And he grabs the little tattoo tool from her. And he starts scribbling on the guy's head, and he looks at her, and he goes, nice tats. And she's like, oh, thank you. And because it sounded like he said nice tits, Chad. It's hilarious. But he scribbles on the guy's head and says, I love cops. It's does it look bad? Get his ass kicked, Chad. Look at the most thing The only thing I get from Shaw's scenes in London is it still has, oh yeah, it's always raining. It's always overcast. It's always gray. It's always blue. I agree with you. Dark gray blue. That is typically the aesthetic, the color scheme of London, of the UK in general. But I love that. I love that little opening number. I forgot to mention it at the top, but it's really, really cool. But, Ryan Reynolds and Peter from Deadpool 2, they're going back and forth, and it's they're going to fucking hate each other. And then we cut chat to London, and they're like, no fucking way. So they say, this is cool, chat. I didn't know this. They actually say no fucking way at the same exact time. But, as you know, you can only say fuck once in a PG-13 movie, which this is a PG-13 movie. But they found a fucking loophole, which I thought was cool. If you say it at the exact same time, you can, fucking, so I say fuck, you say fuck, we say it at the exact same time, it counts as one fuck. I was like, that is really cool. They fucked with the MPAA. I thought that was nice. But they start going, they're and then we have these 2 little schlub agents there. It's well, we were told by our contacts that you would meet and you would investigate this case together. And they're like, no way, this guy is the absolute worst. And then we have the start of the back and forth between The Rock and Jason Statham. The thing is about this chat, this is the weakest part of the movie. When it's sometimes they'll say a really funny joke and it'll work, chat. But other times it'll just miss, and it's just it's and it really just becomes a middle school insult contest, where it's you're dumb because you got big muscles, where you're dumb because your head looks like a scrotum. It's it's literally this guy's an ass. That's what it is. and it's a little too much, and it's like, okay, like this is when I know they're improving. This is when you got to come in there with some jokes, and you got to pace them out. You have to pace them out, and they didn't do that enough, and I wish they did. Because I think that's the one thing that really truly drags the movie down for me. It's like, all right, I get it. Okay, we can move on from this at this point. But they're like, all right, fucking, I am absolutely not working with you. Okay, we're not working together. We're going to go our separate ways, and we're going to track down this criminal. That's what we're going to be doing. And it's like, all right, shit, fuck, let's do it. And also at this point, chat, we cut back to Hattie because she is, she's wanted in London, around the world, chat, and she leaves her apartment, but she set up some fucking traps in her, like, a really cool swanky apartment, chat. So she has this grenade trap and has grenades that says Bane on it. So if you walk in there, you explode. So it's like, that's bad. And she goes to this other location. She owns this hotel room in this other apartment, and she totally changes her appearance, chat, and she leaves. She's walking the streets of London. But, oh, no! She thought she was going to get away, chat. She was going to her motorcycle and everything, but you know who fucking tracked her down? Hobbs. Luke Hobbs, chat. And he's like, lady, I got to bring you in. She's like, you ain't bringing in shit, Special Agent Hobbs. And we get a really well put together fight scene between Vanessa Kirby and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, again, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's, he's got a lot more weight on her. He's got height on her. But she's like a little fucking spider monkey. And, like, she's just constantly, and I love it. Because her go-to move is to, like, it's two things. One, I'm just gonna pick things up and throw them at you. And well, she takes her safety first. She has, like, this motorcycle helmet, and she goes, nah! And she's, like, constantly, like, beating The Rock with it, like, all the time. Always hitting him with it. He's like, stop it! Stop hitting me! And she like, runs over to some trash. She's like, nah! She just starts throwing trash at him. And she even picks up, like, this huge car battery. She's like, don't throw that at me. And she goes, nah! He's like, stop it. He catches it. And the other move, Chad, is to use her thick cockney thighs, she does, and she's always wrapping her thighs around him and, like, trying to go to sleep, like, choking him out, Chad. Like, she's like, I don't have a lot of muscle mass, like, I don't have enough weight compared to you, but I just gotta either throw things at you and bludgeon you to death, or I just gotta choke you out. And I just love her whole attitude in this movie. Like, she just has this kind of, like, it's a snarky attitude, but it's not where it's obnoxious. Like, she just kind of hits it at that right tone where it's like, oh yeah, I can buy you doing all this crazy shit. She's just kind of, she's very laid back. Like, she's not like, I'm here to prove myself. She's like, listen, I know what I'm doing. I know what my skill set is. I can stop you if I can, or at least pacify you to a degree. And she just uses it, and she kicks ass. I think she does a really good job in this movie. And all the action scenes that she's in, and where she's actually, like, trying to choke The Rock out, like, go to sleep. He's like, ah. And there's even a fucking scene where they're going at it. And he's like, okay, stop. Where he literally just grabs her, like, by her neck, and just, I don't know how he grabs. I think he reaches up, and he grabs her by the groin. He's like, and she's like, ooh, and he just lifts her up into the air like this. She's like, ah. It's just great. I really love that. Meanwhile, we cut to Deckard Shaw, and he's infiltrated Hattie's apartment because he actually knows who she is. And he knows that is his sister. He goes in there, Chad. He sees the tripwire, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And, you know, he goes over. He hacks in the computer, Chad, like he always does, trying to find information on her. And he finds out about Brixton. He's like, oh, Idris Elba. And then all of a sudden, these two fucking people appear behind him. And they're like, where's Hattie Shaw? And he's like, I don't know, boys. The only thing I do know is, I'm going to stab you. And oh, by the way, his sister has a shit ton of guns out everywhere. And so he grabs this sawed-off shotgun, blows both of them away, chat. And then there's, like, all these other guys that come in. And he just starts using the shotgun as, like, to bludgeon them to death. And, oh, by the way, all the action scenes in here are very well choreographed. Looks great. Great use of color. This one's like neon pink and purple. Love the way it looks. And they're going back and forth, and he's using any fucking thing. Like, I just love that. You're like, okay, we're just going to grab shit in the room and just hit each other over the head with it. That's what we get. Because you want to get away. And he's just not punching. He's using every fucking tool at his disposal. And it's like, I just like that. Because that's what you would do if you were in this scenario. It's like, I'm just going to grab things and just choke you and just try to smash your head in or gouge. It's like, these are the things that you would do in this kind of situation, which I think is great. And so they're going back and forth, and they're just destroying her fucking apartment, just going through windows and shit. And then we constantly come. And what's great about this is, like, David Leitch, like, say what you will about him as a storyteller, like, story dialogue is definitely his weakest thing. He's with humor, he's pretty good. He's sometimes hit and miss, mostly hit with humor. But man, he really knows how to make an action scene understandable. Where while this is happening, all the stuff with Vanessa Kirby and The Rock is also happening. And because they look so different, and because the settings are so different, you're like, oh, I know exactly what's happening. You never feel confused. I think that's really cool. And so we cut back to Jason Statham and the Brixtons, the Idris Elba's thugs. And at one point, they accidentally nudge the grenade, and it starts spinning around the room. And so, fucking Jason Statham grabs, like, a shower head and just jams inside the one guy's eye socket. He's like, ah, and he dies. And then the grenade starts, like, fucking spinning. And he's like, oh, shit. But thankfully, chat, he goes up to a chat, and he fucking puts the pin back in, because he knows. He knows his sister real well, he does. And he goes, and this will make sense. He just puts the pin back in, and we're safe. He then, we then cut back to The Rock and Vanessa Kirby. And he's like, I'm going to put you down, but you got to stop hitting me with things. And she's like, I'll stop hitting you. And he sets her down. Well, all of a sudden, Jason Statham's like, stay away from my sister. Are you trying to have sex with her? And The Rock's like, huh? What are you talking about? It's my sister, she is. And she's like, yeah, that's my fucking brother. And it's like, what? That's crazy. Oh, no, not yet. I'm sorry, that scene doesn't happen until much later. What happens is The Rock takes her into custody. This is what happens. Takes her into custody and goes to Interpol. While Jason Statham, he puts the grenade back in, doesn't know where his sister is. But we cut back to Interpol, and The Rock is interrogating Hattie, and she's not giving him shit. She's just throwing all of his sarcastic barbs and jabs right back at him. And she's like, God, you are so sweaty, and your head is just so big. And he's like, yeah, and you like it, don't you, girl? She's like, I'm not saying that. And he's like, oh, yeah, girl. And he's like, you got nothing in there. So you think with all your muscle and brawn, you can get any job done. I'm a spy. I'm an MI6 spy. We have to use our fucking wits, all right? And then The Rock says something smart, and she's like, who said that, Bruce Lee? He goes, no, Nietzsche. And he's like, you work this, honey, and you work this too. The body's the temple. You can go ahead and take a picture. And he leaves. She's like, I don't find you hot. But she obviously does, Chet. Obviously set up a romance. And they're flirting. They're just flirting back and forth. And The Rock, he also gets this one guy. He's like, hey, you, new guy. And he's like, if she moves, shoot her in the face. And she's like, you can't do that. It's illegal. That's a crime here. Because he always does this in every movie where he does the interrogation, and he constantly breaks human rights laws and Miranda rights. And she's just throwing a break. You can't do that. And he's like, okay, well, you take your gun. You shoot her like 2 times in the face, okay? She's like, you would go to jail. You're going to go to jail if you kill me. And he just was like, you don't know nothing. He's like, yes, I do. I understand law. I know the laws of the UK. I understand international law. You're breaking the law right now, okay? You probably shouldn't even be here. I don't know why you're here. And he's like, fuck you. And he leaves. And he's like, can you just fucking believe her? He goes, yeah, she's hot as hell and she's sarcastic as hell. Kicked your ass. No, he didn't. He gets very mad about it. And then eventually, though, Vanessa Kirby, this is how she does. It's like, you seem new here. Are you the new guy? You just got to kind of have that vibe about you. You guys are like, I'm not new here. And we see, chat, that she's used a grenade pin, and she has gotten out of the handcuffs, and she basically just starts fucking with this guy, chat, just beating the shit out of him. Grabs his gun, and The Rock's like, God fucking damn it. He comes back, and there's like, woman, don't you be doing this. He pulls out his gun right here to point at her. He's like, don't point your gun at me. You don't point your gun at me. And then fucking Shaw comes in. He's like, don't you point your gun at my sister. And he's like, your sister? What? He's like, yeah, it's my sister. She's like, Deckard, what the hell are you doing here? Mom asked me to come and get you, all right? I mean, well, what the hell's going on here? What have you been up to? And it's like, there's something you got involved with these crazy criminals, Etion, or whatever. Maybe we learned about the terrorist organization, Etion, chat. Etion, their whole thing is they want to, again, megalomaniac shit. We got to destroy the world to save it. We're trying to create the best human possible, chat. It's kind of like, what the Nazis wanted. Like, we're going to emphasize, like, the best of humanity, chat. We're going to make you a fucking super suit and make you superhuman, inject you with a nanospine and nanomachines. You're going to be great. But they got to kill all the rest of the undesirables, that kind of thing. And that's who they're fighting against. And she goes, I'm trying to protect the virus from Eddie. He's like, well, where's the virus? The virus is inside my tummy. It's like, what are you talking about? She says, I injected, like, I was trying to run away from Brixton, and I had to inject the virus inside of myself, and now it's in my tum-tum, and I'm filled with nanomachines. And I'm like, well, how the fuck are we going to get them out? I mean, Idris Elba's going to come by here any second. Then, boom, chat, the fucking windows, because they're in a room, a building where it's just windows, chat. Probably should take her to a more secure facility. And all the fucking windows get blown out at this point. And who's there, chat? Idris Elba. And he's in full black Superman regalia, chat. He has his other stormtroopers there with him. And they're like, let's get it. Let's get the asset. And her assets, get it? Because she's, she looks beautiful. And he grabs her, chat, puts her over his shoulders. And then they have these harpoon guns, chat, that they shoot. Somehow, no one saw this, by the way. This Interpol, they did not know that this international supervillain terrorist organization was setting up shop on top of their building and was climbing up, and they had helicopters and shit. So they shoot down these harpoons all the way down to the ground level, and Idris Elba and these other two guys hook themselves up, and they just start running down the building, like straight down the building. Jason Statham and The Rock, they recover, and Jason says, I have to go after my sister. We have to go after her together, okay? And this is weird. This is when we get the gravity means fucking nothing. They're fighting a Metal Gear villain. They're fighting nanomachines, son. It's nanomachines. It's Senator Shaw from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, excuse me. And so Rock is okay, on my count, all right? So 3, so he this is what I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Because he grabs one of the cables, chat, like this, with bare fucking hands, by the way. He grabs the cable. He's like, okay, on my count, we jump down. And he's like, all right. And we go 3, 2, 1, go. And The Rock just jumps down, and Deckard Shaw goes, and he just goes literally a foot away and goes into the elevator and is just waiting there the whole time. While The Rock is sliding down this steel cable with bare hands, chat. It's like, are his hands just, that's what he says, no one tells me what to do. That's his goddamn line. But we have The Rock, which I'm like, how is this happening? Where he literally he slides down this cable with bare hands. Does he have these giant, thick fucking calluses? I don't know, but he's like, well, I can't, he's like, well, I can't do this anymore because it's so unrealistic. So he just lets go of the cable. He literally lets go of the cable and just starts fucking free-falling, chat. Hits one of the guys, starts punching him in midair, the one that's not next to Idris Elba. And while, and he starts, like, swinging around the thing. And he's like, he rams into Shaw's elevator. And Shaw goes, fuck you. And Rock goes, fuck you. And then The Rock then punches the guy till he falls off. And The Rock then jumps and goes on top, like free falls onto the other guy while Shaw starts shooting at Idris Elba to, like, make him lose balance. I don't, how? This shit I would have wrote when I was 12. It's like, it really is that. Love you, Hans Navy. You're the man. Effie, thank you so much for resubscribing. Appreciate that. Omar, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Good to see so many fine people. But this scene is just like, they don't care anymore. Where The Rock literally is like, I'm going to jump out. I'm going to go down a steel cable like that's, all taut, will just destroy my hands. And I'm just going to free fall from person to person, punching. And the last guy, chat, he punches this guy all the way down. Like, he doesn't stop. He's like, you've only stopped like once. And he punches this guy all the way down while Idris Elba, he lands on this glass ceiling, and The Rock just goes, oh, just punching this guy, and he goes right through it. He lands on top of the car, and The Rock is straddling this guy, and the guy just fucking explodes, chat, because the sheer force of gravity and The Rock's thick ass he just pops. And The Rock rolls off the car. While Idris Elba, he rolls off. Hattie, she starts to recover. She's like, what the fuck just happened? And at this point, finally, Deckard Shaw, he gets down. And it's like, all right, here we fucking go. But then fucking Idris Elba and Deckard Shaw, they recognize each other. And, Jay Statham's like, Idris Elba? And, Idris Elba's like, Deckard Shaw? And they start shooting. But they miss. They waste all their ammo. And then we get a backstory. We get a retroactive backstory where it's like, you thought you killed me, didn't you, Deckard? Oh, those years ago. You should have joined Ateon. He's like, I would have never joined Ateon. You people are insane. He's like, and that's why I made sure that you were burned, that every organization would know that you're a criminal. He's like, I'm no criminal. He's like, I don't give it. It's just trying to make Deckard Shaw not a bad guy, and like some said him as a fucking hero. And the reason why he did all the things in like Furious 7 is because he was just in a bad place at the time. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? No. No. He does admit to one mistake. He's like, I've done maybe a couple of things I'm not proud of. It's like, okay, sure. Like when you killed fucking Han, all right. But at this point, Deckard Shaw's like, okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here, because Idris Elba, he's acting crazy. He gets backed up by his guys. Deckard Shaw, he gets in his fancy fucking sports car, gets Hattie's running up to the car along with The Rock, but Deckard, he opens the car door and he said, no, you Rock, you stay back. And Hattie's like, maybe he should come with you. He's like, no. And The Rock pulls out his fucking Magnum and says, we're all coming with you. And they pile into the car, chat, and we get a really fucking cool action scene where they're going through the city of London, chat, while Idris Elba puts on his fucking Master Chief helmet, complete with orange gold visor. It looks just like it, chat. And what's just so cool about this scene is, you see like the HUD that Idris Elba has, and he's predicting like where all the cars are gonna go and shit. It's like a fucking video game, and he gets on his super smart motorcycle. Like, this thing can do fucking anything. It can bend in any direction. You can just it rides by itself. It's like, is that thing alive? I don't know. Does this unit have a soul? No idea. And they all take off in the city of London trying to get away from Idris Elba, chat. And fucking Jason Statham, he's doing every move possible. He pulls the Clark Griswold, chat, from Christmas Vacation. Chevy Chase's, Clark Griswold, where he goes under 2 fucking trucks. And he's like, there we go, it beat him. The thing is, though, Idris Elba also goes under the truck, but literally is just riding, like he's skating his ass on the ground while holding on to like the tire of his motorcycle, and it drags him underneath. It's like, how the fuck are you doing this, buddy? And even Jason Statham's like, that's not possible. It's like, it doesn't matter. And they continue to worry about the other motorcyclists. They all fucking die and shit. But Jason Statham's like, okay, there's only one fucking move I know that I know it is going to work. And it's the one he used on Dom all those years ago, chat, in Fury 7, where it's like, I'm just going to fucking run at you until I just fucking hit you. And it's like, oh, shit. And Idris Elba just didn't expect it. He's like, well, even though I am a Superman, I'm Black Superman after all, I can't probably survive a car crash. And so Jason just runs at him, and Idris Elba, like, he's like, oh shit. He performs a wheelie, he bounces off the car, goes through a fucking double-decker bus, just blasts right through it, explodes. It's like that scene in Invincible, chat, in the last episode, goes through it, all these people they just pop like hot water balloons, ends up on the other side, while Deckard Shaw, Hattie, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson all escape. He's like, God damn it! Ooh! And then his smart bike's like, it's okay. His smart bike like comes around and just like nestles against his thigh, and he gets on it and he rides away. It's like, okay, all right, sure. That just fucking happened. After that, again, the chase scene, it's so stupid, but it's so goddamn cool. Han is a Super Saiyan there. I say, he must be. That's the only way, Nino. That's the only way he had to have fucking survived. I just don't get it. No one disrespects Bon Wam in here. His bike is like Toothless from How to Train Your... It just nuzzles next to him. It's always with him. Chad would have expected they would have played the How to Train Your Dragon theme at one point. But he goes back to the Etion secret base, chat. I don't know where. Feels like they're in Sweden or something. And this is on this giant fucking lake. And he goes in there, and he has to basically report to the director of Etion, chat. This super powerful organization we never heard of. But even though, like, it's funny, like, The Rock's like, I think I heard of them. And even Deckard Shaw is like, oh, yes, I know about them. It's like, do you know about them? I don't think so. I think you're retconning this. But he reports to the director, chat. Now, the director, we don't see them. He just gets this creepy robot reverb voice where Idris Elba goes in this giant white room, and we see this, like all the screens is just the reverb, chat, like someone's voice, like the line and stuff going up and down. And what's cool about this is, like, the director is like, okay, listen, I don't want you to kill them. I want you to recruit them because I want to put a team together. I want to have a family of our own. Oh, shit, because at Etion, everyone's family. It's true, Chad. He's trying to put together his own super family. Is the director of Etion going to fight against the family of Fast and Furious franchise in 10 or 11? Possibly might happen, Chad. Possibly might happen. We don't know. Idris Elba's like, I don't want to do that. I want to get revenge for Shaw, because at one point, when Idris Elba came to Shaw to join Etion and like have a place in ruling the fucking world, Shaw's like, no, I'm a good guy. I won't do that. And he fucking shot Idris Elba in the head. And Idris Elba survived that. And he carries around this bullet all the time. And that's when they built him the spine. This is when the director says, given you everything, Idris Elba. I filled you with nanomachines. Nanomachines, son. I gave you a robot spine. I gave you a Halo HUD. I gave you robot eyes. Part of your brain is a robot. All right? It's like, do this for me, all right? He's like, oh, you're not going to do. He's like, that wasn't a fucking request. That was a goddamn order. And he's like, all right, shit. So he's got to recruit Hobbs, Shaw, and Vanessa Kirby, Chad, at this point. Look, the boss, think of the one bitty. There sounds a certain mass vigilante we all know, right? What's funny about this is the director is of Etion. They just call him the director in the movie. It's voiced by Ryan Reynolds. Now, I don't think they're going to do a whole twist where Ryan Reynolds is the director the whole time. What they originally did, what David Leitch wanted to do, because he's getting old people he's worked with to appear in this movie. Like Ryan Reynolds is in this, Peter from Deadpool 2 is in this. But you know who the original voice for the director was going to be? But the actor just didn't have time to record all those lines. It was Keanu Reeves. That's who they wanted the director to be. So, Chad, I would not be shocked in Hobbs and Shaw 2 or in a Fast and Furious 10 or 11 that one of the villains of that movie is going to be Keanu Reeves. I think that is most likely going to happen. Again, they just want to use his voice here, and they even hint at him at the end. It's like, I'll be seeing you real soon, Hobbs. You may not remember me, but I remember you. And it's like, it's going to probably be Keanu Reeves, which I think is fucking cool. I think it was fucking cool. Because they have the time, it's literally a phone call. I don't know, man. I'm not sure. They weren't able to get him. But he's in a good relationship with David Leitch. I mean, he reignited his career with the John Wick movies. So Keanu Reeves will most likely show up as a villain in a future Hobbs and Shaw movie and or Fast and Furious. And eventually probably join the family at that point. Who knows? But after that, Idris Elba was like, fuck, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. We then eventually go to Hobbs, Shaw, and Hattie, and they're like, okay, well, we got to figure out how to get these nanomachines out of your tummy, so we have to go to the guy that created the nanomachines. And so they kidnap this nerdy guy, this Dr. Nerdy guy who created it, and they're like, all right, you got to tell us how to get the nanomachines out of my sister's tum-tum. And he's like, yeah, it's not possible. It's not possible. He's like, well, there is a possibility, okay? You've made them, we can unmake them. He goes, okay, there are two options. And they go, okay, cool, two options. What are they? He's like, option number one, shoot her and burn the body. And they're like, what? Yeah, but make sure she's like really burn the body, like she's ash. Because the thing is, chat, so the nanomachines that she put inside of her, because they have a timetable now, you have, I think they say 45 hours until they activate once they're injected into a host. And once they activate, it'll like leak out of her. Maybe she'll shit them all out. I don't know. And it'll go airborne. This is what he fucking says, chat. He says, you got to do that. You have to shoot her and burn the body, or they'll activate. Now, at this point, it's been 33 hours. It's been 33 hours, chat. So they have, I'm not fucking kidding, they have 12 hours to solve this problem. Exactly 12 hours, okay? And the amount of globe hopping that they do, chat, country hopping, is ridiculous. But keep that in mind. They say they have 12 hours. Maybe it's 48 hours, but it doesn't matter. They don't have enough time. They have less. Okay, let's say it was 48 hours and it was 30 hours already done. They have less than a day. Okay, let's cut the difference. Let's say it's 48 hours. Fair enough. She's already been up and running with the virus in her tummy for 30 plus hours. So at this point, chat, she has 18 hours, okay? She has 18 hours. Pete out, thank you for resubscribing. These FF movies are the best. Thank you. I know. I love talking about them. So they have 18 hours to get those things out of her belly. That's what they need to do. And they're like, well, that's option one. Shoot her in the head and burn her until she's ash. Or go to this super secret facility in Moscow where they have the Deus Ex Machina device to suck out all of the nanomachines from your tum-tum. And she's like, well, why is that impossible? Because it's owned by Etion. It's at the secret Moscow abandoned nuclear Etion facility. And they're like, what? Nanomachine, son. Bro, thank you. Welcome to stream. And Vanny, thank you so much for resubscribing. 10 months and sub to your channel. Only a Manderville man can. Thank you, Vanny. Hope you're doing very well, good sir. But I love it. It's like, okay, we got to go there. That's the thing why Idris Elba wants her, because he wants to take Vanessa Kirby to the secret Etion Moscow, nuclear power plant abandoned facility so they can suck out all the nanomachines. It's like, okay, I get it. And they're like, well, we got to fucking take a trip, but how the hell are we going to do that? Because now, for whatever reason, this is what I don't doesn't make any sense. Idris Elba and Etion, apparently, chat, control the world's media. And they have been blacklisted, and now they're wanted criminals because they're trying to release the virus, which is like, no. And this is like the third time this has happened to The Rock in this franchise, where it's like, you're on your own, Hobbs. You're an international criminal. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? At this point, if I was like a normal citizen, like, we would all know who Luke Hobbs is because he's in the news all the time. It's like, this is the third time he's been labeled a terrorist. It's like, I'm gonna take a bet and say he's probably not a terrorist. He's actually on a secret mission. But I just love it. It's like, oh yeah, you're wanted criminals now. And so we need to give you secret identities. And it's like, oh, fuck. But it's okay, because Jason Statham is James Bond. Where he's like, it's okay, guys. Let's go back to my super secret lair. They go back to his lair, and they go down this elevator, and actually, he's Batman. He's actually Batman, chat, because we go into Jason Statham's Batcave, and he has, like, a shit ton of cars. We have a reference to the Italian Job, which I thought was pretty cool. It was cool to see that, chat. I did a job in Italy. So perhaps the Italian Job, chat, is also canon in this series. I would like to think it is. But they're walking, they're doing their whole thing, and he's like, "Oh, worry, I'm gonna take your pictures." And by the way, we're having great chemistry, I would say, between Vanessa Kirby and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because they are constantly flirting back and forth. And she has this great scene. He's like, do you want, because, Deckard Shaw, he has all these, and the Talent Job was directed by the guy who did 8. So it makes sense. Yeah, it's cool. It's like, it's all connected, chat. But Vanessa Kirby, she's always drinking something in the movie, which I'm like, that's so hot. Deckard, he has this whole full bar of like various whiskeys and brandies. I'm like, oh, I fucking love this guy. And she goes to The Rock, hey, do you want a drink? He's like, yeah, small one. And she like takes a bottle of whiskey and like a whiskey glass and just fills that all the way up to the top. She goes, here you go. Might be small for him or might be small for her. He's like, thanks. And she just starts drinking. She's like, yeah, no problem. Starts drinking. Woman after my own heart, chat. While Deckard Shaw, he starts taking pictures of them as The Rock and Vanessa Kirby are just flirting back and forth. I'm sorry. As soon as the nanomachines are out of her tum-tum, chat, I want her to have The Rock's baby. It's like, just do it. Like, they obviously just want to fuck so bad. They're leading up to a romance. Chandler Rock's lonely, chat. He only has a little Pebble in his life. His other family, Dom, that's not working out anymore. His real family, they hate him now. Like, let's start a family with Vanessa Kirby, chat. Let's fucking go. Hopefully that happens. But he takes their pictures, and he's like, okay, I'm going to give you all these secret identities. And so, great scene here. Great use of humor here. Vanessa Kirby, she plays this, typical, like, British person, like, very waspy, very posh British person. She's like, oh, hello, here's my credentials. And they go there. Jason Statham gives himself the identity of this spelunker or this part-time ski instructor, and like he's a man, Renaissance man. He does all these extracurricular activities and like insane sports, and then he gives The Rock. It's great. Now he also like I don't have like clothes for you to like that are big enough for you. This is probably the biggest thing I have, and so The Rock's clothes when he goes to the airport are literally just like looks like they're gonna about to rip apart. You can actually see his belly button. And he's like, I feel very uncomfortable. As he's walking forward. And his name, chat, is Michael Smallcock. And so when he goes up to the airport, the ticket agent, and he's like, my small cock. He's like, it's Michael. Please call me Michael. And he has this pencil thin, like pervy mustache. It's like, ew. But they go through security. The thing is, though, chat, Jason Statham pulled a little prank on The Rock because that alias that he gave him is like a wanted fucking, like, I don't know, like pedophile or some shit. And they're like, sir, get on your fucking knees. He's like, guys, this is all an accident. Jason Statham's like, come on, girl, let's go. And they board the plane. And while The Rock is getting a very visceral cavity search, chat, right up the ass, right up those thick brown cheeks of his. No more thank you for the 115 biddy. 'Tis another night of lurking. Hope everyone's doing well and we'll have a great watch party. Yes, indeed. I'll be doing it very, very soon. Thank you, Dwayne, for the 215 biddies, the corgi biddies. But we get this wonderful, like, little back and forth between Vanessa Kirby and Jason Statham. Like, they have chemistry. I really like them. Like, they also do this fun thing where they recount their days when they were youngsters. Like, the Mick Jagger. Like, at one point in the movie, they had all these, like, little heists they performed, or, like, little scenarios where they beat the shit out of kids and stuff, like, to defend themselves and then, like, their family name, because the Shaws were, like, criminals and shit. Where we did the Mick Jagger, and it was where he was like, basically using himself as a distraction to get all these bullies to chase him, while she used this, like, plank of fucking wood and, like, beat them with it. And they recount all this. It's like, I love those little cuts. And, like, this text, like, pops up on the screen. It's like, the Mick Jagger, like, 1982 or some shit like that. I was like, that's really funny. By the way, Owen apparently was not in any of these scenarios shit. Like, did they just write him out of this franchise? They never reference Owen. It's fucking weird. But I love it. It's like, that's when I think the humor of the movie works really, really well. Combination with the two actors and just the flashback sequence and the text and the editing. It's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, 1978. Yeah, stuff like that. No, Owen was there as a kid. Was he there? He was in the background, though. He might have been in the background. He was there? All right, fair enough. He was in the background. They just don't mention him by name. Give my boy a mention, okay? I want to see them all come together in the next Hobbs and Shaw movie. Apparently, you can't see you in the background of a flashback. It's very blinky this. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You got me. You got me. Point to you, Chad. I'll give it to you. Eventually, they're reminiscing, having a great time. The Rock waddles, and he's like, my ass, because he got that big old cavity search. She has a lot of ass to check. And he's like, oh, I thought it would take you longer. He's like, well, unlike you, I'm actually nice, and I have friends. And you should see Deckard Shaw's face when The Rock says, I actually have friends, unlike you. And he's like, hey, that really hurt. Because he does. He doesn't have any friends. It's like, oh, and people like me, which is true. And he sits down, and it's like the seat's like so small for him. He sits next to this woman, and he's like, I like your babushka. And she's like, thank you. It's like, oh, it's so sweet. Then it's later on the flight, Vanessa Kirby, she drank herself to, just knocked herself out, chap. She got the things on her eyes, just snoring and shit. It's very cute. Also, early in the movie, The Rock made her, like, laugh when they were in Jason Statham's Batcave, and she goes, and she, like, has a little snort, and I think that's, like, the cutest thing ever. I thought it was really adorable. But she also growls, like, when she gets to the fight, she goes, like, I was like, oh, shit. Then we cut, and The Rock is, like, uncomfortable and shit. He's like, oh, he's like, what? And then Jason's like, stop fidgeting, stop. You're gonna, like, let everyone know that we're here. And he's like, what are you talking about? Unlike you, I can be subtle. It's like, there is nothing fucking subtle about you. And this is when I thought the back and forth between them was pretty goddamn good. They keep going back and forth until this one guy says, okay, you two gotta stop. And this guy just crouches right next to him. And they're like, who the hell are you? And The Rock's like, you clearly just roused the air marshal from his slumber. And the air marshal, chat, played by Kevin Hart. That's what this movie needs, chat, a little heart. And Kevin Hart's like, all right, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I know what you're all about. I know you're on it. And he's like, he cuts to the bullshit. He's like, now you guys are in big trouble. He's like, no, based on you guys, I could tell you're like ex-cop, ex-military, or something like that. Tracking people down. You, spy, super spy. I know about that, man. I could be the third extra wheel. I can be that necessary individual. I can get you anything, man. Air Marshal, I can get you planes. I can get you helicopters. I can get you fucking F-16s. This is what I can do. Let me join your franchise. And they're like, well, we're not really looking for anyone to be a part of this yet. He's like, listen, I'm telling you right now, people are going to love me. Okay? I can be there for you. I was part of a special squad. And they're like, what special squad? Warlocks. And they're like, even The Rock's like, actually, I know about the Warlocks. You know, Jay Statham's like, Warlocks, I know it's a serious business. They are, okay? It's magic shit. All right, motherfucker? I can help you. And Kevin Hart, it's a Warlock. Kevin Hart does such a great goddamn job in this little scene. He has this scene and one more scene, but I'm like, this is cool because I feel like they're actually setting up, like, okay, they're putting their own family, their own team together, and then we're going to get a bigger part for Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds in the next movie. I think that'd be great if, like, the next film has Hobbs and Shaw also teaming up with Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart. Like, fucking go. That's the whole thing. That's the other thing, too. When he still talks to them, his voice gets deeper. And he's like, why'd you make your voice use? What are you talking about? This is my voice. That's not your real voice. This is my real voice. Okay, I'm just messing with you. It's not my real voice. But he's like, listen, if you guys fucking need anything, all right, you let me know, okay? I'll get you what you need. And basically, he's just writing them a get-out-of-jail-free card because They'll need him, chat, because they of their globe-trotting adventures. Also, you find out they have to go to Russia. I forgot to mention this. They need to go to Russia for getting into the super secure facility. But Jason Statham, so as soon as they land in Russia, he's like, okay, I gotta get in contact with my girl. He's like, who's your girl? Margarita. It's like Margarita, and she's basically like the Letty of the movie, where her whole profession is she rips off Russian gangsters, which sounds really dangerous, where she'll actually go to their mansions and then murder them and take all their shit with her crew of all-female, like, mercenaries. And it's like, okay, cool. And so Shaw's like, we're going to go meet her there right now, and she'll be able to get us in to do the thing. And he meets with her, and, you know, she's like, again, she's in a all-black brassiere showing off the tatas, chat. All right? While she has shown up all the Russian gangsters, just gunning them, just little stabby stabs. Tell me where all your valuables are. Stabby stab. And, you know, they walk in, and Shaw's like, nice place for you. She goes, Shaw. And she literally did a Letty chap. She goes, nice to see you, Deckard Shaw. And they walk up to each other, like, they're very close. And they just start fucking making out, chat, like, and where Hobbs and Vanessa Kirby are like, whoa. Like, should we leave? Should we leave? And they just keep going. She's like, nice to see you, Deckard. Come with me. And she just struts. She's like, right behind you, girl. And they're like, and Hobbs and Hattie are like, I didn't expect to see that. And Hobbs is like, I didn't want to see that. And they go in there. And she's like, okay, listen, I can get you in. But the thing is, you know, because I understand the whole thing. Like, I know Etienne, they're a bunch of assholes. Get it? You know, I need them out of Russia because I'm trying to steal a whole bunch of shit. And them being involved puts a damper on my own plan. So happy to help you out. She's very not in the movie of that long. And she's like, listen, we're going to bamboozle them. We're going to sneak your sister in there, make sure that they have the technology there so they can extract the nanomachines from her tum-tum, okay? That's very, very important. Wow, so we're going to hand her over. So they do that whole scene where she sets up a meeting with Idris Elba, and they hand over Hattie. And Idris Elba's like, was she traveling with anybody? And she goes, no, she was alone. And he's like, if I find out you're lying, I'm going to kill you. And she goes, that's what I would typically expect from you. And he goes, whatever. And he leaves with her. So Hattie goes to the secret Russian facility. Also, somehow, Idris Elba and Etienne find out that Dr. Nerdy Guy told them about the nanomachines and how to get them out. And so he goes to him and he says, hey, I need you to use this technology. I need you to, for whatever reason, I need you to oversee the extractions of the nanomachines from her tummy. And it takes him to the facility. They string him up on this, like on the shooting range. And he's like, I'll never work for you. And, you know, Idris Elba's like, okay, I have a flamethrower gun where it literally just belches flames, and I will burn you alive, okay? And he does this really fucking villainous monologue of how humans aren't really worth shit. There's a little bit of calcium, a little bit of iron, you know, a little bit of nanomachines in all of us, of course, as we all know. A little bit of steel. I got a whole shitload of steel in my thing. Now, I'm worth a lot. I'm like a robot man, okay? So if I were to die, you would probably make a few $1 million off of me. You ain't shit. You about 350, punk, and I will fucking burn you alive, okay, if you don't work for me. He's like, I'll never work for you. And he fires it off, but it's just close enough where he doesn't burn, but he feels the fucking intense heat. He's like, okay, I'll work for you. He goes, that's what I fucking thought. Now get your ass to work. And so he captured that guy. Meanwhile, we cut back to Margarita and Shaw and Hobbs, and she's like, listen, I'm going to give you super suits, okay? I'm going to give you, like, these stealth Black Ops super suits. You're going to wear them because you're going to parachute into the super secret Etienne nuclear facility. And they're like, okay, cool. So they give him these suits, and Deckard's just, like, super tight. And he's like, how do I look? He's like, do I look good? And he's like, it's a little tight on you. He goes, yeah, it feels a little tight. And he's like, cool. So I'm going to get you in the F-16, and you're going to eject, and that's what you're going to do. And Margarita leaves the movie. She's not in it again, chat. She might appear in the sequel. Who knows? Sometimes you have these characters in the Fast and Furious franchise. They're there for, like, an important thing, and then they're fucking gone. Kirby Jack, thank you so much. The 10 minutes. Good out for tonight. You guys have a good night. Kirby Jack, thank you for all the support. Appreciate you. If I find out you're lying, I'll cut your heart. That's what he says. That's what he says. I'll cut your heart out. Which I imagine he would just punch her chest and just rip it out. I think he would pull a Kano chance since he is a robot man. Eventually, though, Chad, we cut to Hobbs and Shaw. They're in the F-16. And Shaw's like, okay, I've done this before, so on my mark, all right? 3, and The Rock just pulls his ejecto seat. Ejecto seat, cuz! Ejecto Ejectocito, cuz. And he brought it back. They brought it back. And Shaw's like, you fucking wanker. As he like gets ejected into the goddamn air. And The Rock goes, woo! And he hits his and he gets ejected. And Shaw's like, fuck you. Fuck you. And The Rock's like, never tell me what to do, cuz. And eventually they fucking land the facility, chat. And like, okay, we gotta infiltrate this shit. We also cut to the facility where they're about to hook up Vanessa Kirby to the nanomachine extractors. They can get all the nanomachines out of her tummy. And the Dr. Nerdy guy's there. But we cut to the facility where Hobbs and Shaw, they set up these 2 giant fucking bombs, which they had them. Like, it's like, I don't know how, it's like so little plastique, but it's like, it'll destroy the entire facility. Great. We're giving ourselves 40, by the way, at this point, they have maybe 18 hours to do everything that they need to do to get all the nanomachines out of Vanessa Kirby. They have flown from London to Moscow in that time, which I imagine takes a long time, chat. They've met with Margarita. They've had the exchange between Margarita and Idris Elba. And then they've also been flown to the secret facility. So apparently not that much time has passed. I guess it was like, what, a half hour? Like, time, chat, makes no sense. They have literally less than a day to do all this. And we're about halfway through the movie at this point. So it's just fucking nuts to me. But they set up these 2 bombs, and they come to these 2 doors, and they're arguing about back and forth, like, this is going to be my door. And they have these scanners where they're able to see through the doors, and Jason Statham uses his scanner. And his scanner has like 15 fucking guys in there. He's like, oh, I'm mistaken. This is your door. He's like, you pick your door. Well, The Rock uses his, and there's like 1 big guy in there. They both go in there. Jason Statham, again, very well shot action. Choreography's on point. Jason Statham and The Rock do such a great job. Jason Statham goes in there. He starts kicking all that fucking ass shit. It looks great. Kirby Jack, thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Stranger Shoot for the 5 biddies. Game of Thrones fast show. That's what it is. It must be. They mention Game of Thrones a lot in this show. That is a goddamn fact. We also occasionally, Ryan Reynolds at one point calls them. And he's like, hey guys, so I'm just catching up. By the way, I came to that diner that we were at before. It's really nice in here. Although, I don't know where anyone is or where the staff is. I think it's closed. He's just like alone in there, like there's no one there. And he's on his little laptop. He's checking on Hobbs and Shaw. It's like such a weird fucking scene. But did you break in? I think Ryan Reynolds is a little crazy in the movie. But they go through each hallway, and The Rock, like, he has to fight this big guy. The guy's fucking huge. He has like 2 feet on The Rock. But The Rock just goes bonk. He just punches the guy in the face. He goes, and he falls over. And The Rock just drags him because they got to use this eye sensor to get into the main facility in the main room. And he drags him. And he watches Jason Statham beat the shit out of all these guys. And Jason, he finally does it, and he grabs his guy, and he scans, but they have to do the scan at the same time or get, like, a match. So Jason Statham, for the whole time, has to go to each body that he just fucked up. And, like, does your eye work? No. Does your eye work? No. He has to do every single body until he finally he's like, finally, and the doors open up, and he just was like, hello, boys. And, like, the entire army of Etion's there, too. And they're like, oh, shit. And they get bonked on the head, chat, by the butt of a gun, and that's what takes them out. Meanwhile, we cut to Vanessa Kirby and the nerdy doctor, and we get a really fucking funny line from Vanessa Kirby, where she's like, because Idris Elba is like, be sure to guard her, she's quite dangerous. And they're like, whatever, she's a girl. And she says to the 2 guys, so, how's it been working on the Death Star? Have you been here long? You seem new. And I'm like, again, chat, she does a really good job. She gets some of the best lines in the movie. And they're like, shut up, we don't work on the Death Star. It's the super secret nuclear Etion facility. And then, chat, she does her thing where she has like a grenade pin in her mouth. Because that's like her keepsake, is a grenade pin. And she uses it to get out of her bonds. And she uses her thick female cockney thighs, chat, to choke the shit out of these guys until they're done, until they're dead. And then Dr. Nerdy, who's there about to do the extractions, goes, how did you do that? That's not even possible. And she says, it doesn't fucking matter. Logic, physics, gravity, these things mean nothing to this franchise. Time, however, time is the true enemy. And I have a lot of nanomachines in my tummy. Let's go and grab that super secret nano extractor. And so they grab the device, chat. And they're like, okay, let's go. And they're like, because she has to, like, I heard my brother and that hot Samoan man, and it looks like they need our help. We then cut to Jason Statham and The Rock, and they have been strapped into 2 metallic chairs, chat, with chains all around them. And it's great because The Rock wakes up, and Jason Statham's like, wow, the way you sleep, you just fucking snore so goddamn loud. And he's like, shut up, okay? I have sleep apnea. But then Idris Elba's like, do you two ever shut the fuck up? And like, no, not really. And he goes, listen, usually I would just do the whole thing where I would torture you because it would be fun. I've hooked you up to like 5,000 fucking volts or some bullshit. Who knows how many volts? A lot of volts. And I'm guessing I can probably get like, 4 big shocks in you before your brains explode. And The Rock's like, oh, it's going to take more than 4, brother. Probably take 5 at least. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll do number 1. He goes, and he shocks him. And he's like, okay. And Jason Statham's like, you have to antagonize him. Stop it. And we have a great thing where Idris Elba, for whatever reason, just doesn't want to talk to The Rock in this scene because he's always directing the conversation to Deckard. And every time The Rock starts talking, he's like, hey, I want to be involved in the conversation. He's like, hey, big Samoan man, shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you. Which I love that. I love that. But he says, listen, usually I would kill you, but Keanu Reeves, who will eventually, or speculating to be the villain, the director says he wants to recruit you because he wants to create a family of his own. So I'm going to give you this whole speech about how the world is evil, and by 2090, it's like weird fucking shit. Like it's some like Scientology shit. We're all gonna die in 2096, and only the robot people are gonna survive. So join our death cult at Tian, where we're gonna put nanomachines inside your tummy. We're gonna give you a robot spine. We're gonna give you a Master Chief HUD system in your eyeballs, and you're gonna get your own super smart bike. Your super smart motorcycle, okay? It's gonna be great, guys. And Deckard Shaw's like, you're fucking crazy. He's like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. You're crazy, all right? And you should, what you did all those years ago, Deckard, when you shot me in the head, when I offered this to you. I offered you immortality. I'm Black Superman, baby. And The Rock's like, what? He's like, I'm Black Superman. And he's like, okay, shit. And he's like, and he shocks them throughout this whole conversation, like they're going to be on the 5th shock. And he says, so what's the thing? What's the deal? You guys going to join us? Like, I hope you say no because I just want to kill the both of you. And Deckard Shaw's like, there's no fucking way I'm ever going to join you and your stupid Superman death cult, okay? And he's like, that's good enough for me. He's right about to shock him. The Rock says, hey, wait a minute. He says, I wanna join your Superman death call. He's like, that whole thing about like the Black Superman, you sold me in there. That's a good line, man. That's a good line. He's like, really? And Deckard Shaw's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then The Rock, because he notices Vanessa Kirby at the peripheral vision. And he's like, oh, man, you know what your problem is, man? You're just like Mick Jagger. And Jason Statham's like, Mick Jagger? But remembers, chat, the Mick Jagger. Oh, the heist he did with Vanessa Kirby, and The Rock overheard all that, and he realizes like, oh, this is the fucking we're fucking messing with them. We're gonna bamboozle him. He's like, So they do the whole back and forth show. Vanessa Kirby, she gets all the shit that she needs, and she starts shooting the guns, and they're like, oh shit. All the guys start getting taken out, and Jason Statham, The Rock, they burst out of there like, rah! They burst out of their chains, and they start punching everybody and shit. They're like, okay, we got to get fucking going. Oh, also, Dr. Nerdy Guy's like, I'm not worth $350. I'm worth much more. He's like, I'm no punk buster. He's like what he says, I'm no punk buster. And uses the flamethrower on Idris Elba. And Idris Elba's like, he gets burned alive and shit. But he's okay. He's Black Superman. He's fine. But he gets really pissed off about this. While the Jason Statham takes Vanessa Kirby, he's like, okay, we got to get the fuck out of here with the technology thing to get the nanomachines out of your tummy. They get inside like a super cool car, while The Rock, he gets inside of like a bigger truck for whatever reason, and they get going. While the super nerdy guy, the Dr. Nerdy Guy, he's fucking going crazy. Like, oh, fuck him, we can't help him. And he's just burning everyone alive and burning the whole facility down. And Idris Elba just comes behind him, goes, and just twists his head off, like a fucking, like a cork. And it's like, oh my God. And he throws his head away, and he sees that Vanessa Kirby and Jason, Vanessa Kirby's also doing like parkour. So she's not on the, in the car yet. She's like jumping on like these buildings and shit, and then she eventually jumps into Deckard Shaw's car, and then they take off. Idris Elba sees this shit. He's like, no! And then the fucking bombs go off, so apparently it's been 45 minutes, and the whole facility starts getting destroyed. And Idris Elba, he jumps on his super smart bike and chases after them, chat. And we get a really Elon Cybertruck. Oh yeah, Nerdy Flame. I couldn't forget Nerdy Flamethrower guy. No, he was burning everyone alive. He almost burned Idris Elba alive, but he got Silly Che got his neck stabbed. They apparently just forgot about him too. But we get a really well shot, and again, it's CGI heavy, but it's like, this is so stupid and nothing makes sense. Where it's just this wonderful CGI mixed of practical effects chasing throughout this abandoned nuclear facility, and like everything's exploding and nothing matters, and it's just so good. Eventually, but you know, Idris Elba is like the sole survivor of Etion in this specific area, and at one point, Jason Statham and Vince Kirby, they have to abandon their vehicle because it keeps getting fucked up because it's getting shot. Oh yeah, the drones. There's a shit ton of drones, chat. They have the Amazon drones on loan. They just added some guns to them, and they start shooting at the Rock, and they start shooting at Jason Statham, but it's okay, though, because they just use their vehicles to destroy the drones in midair. Every time they jump, they, like, kick the drone, and it goes, ah, and it explodes in midair. So that's all good. But it did damage Jason Statham's car a little bit, and so what he does, he goes off a ramp and lands in the back of the Rock's vehicle, his truck, lands there. Vanessa Kirby gets out. She goes to the passenger side seat. She starts to make out. Oh, it's a great scene. Where as she jumps from Jason Statham's car first, he's like, get out, like, get in here. And she's like literally like a fucking rag doll, like, ah, because there's no seatbelts on this thing. But the Jason Statham's like, jump into the car. I'm gonna do a fucking flip and I'll get on there, but I'm gonna make sure that you get safe. She's like, all right, cool. And where she, the Rock opens his door and she crosses over and she just straddles his lap like this. And he's like, oh, and she's like, like, are they gonna kiss? It's like, are they gonna make a baby right here? And it's like a beat where she just straddles him and she's like, oh my God, it's like so sexy. And eventually she moves on over. It's like, hey, well, that was pretty hot. But then he Statham, he uses this ramp, jumps on the back of the car. But you know who's fucking behind him, chat? Idris fucking Elba. He's right behind him. And he lands his fucking super bike on the back of the truck. Jason Statham's there, The Rock. He's like, fucking Vanessa Kirby, drive while Jason Statham and I have a cool action fight scene with Idris Elba. And so he crawls in back, Chad, and they're both sitting on this fucking truck or standing up here. It's like, let's fucking go. Idris Elba's like, I'm the black fucking Superman, man. You can't beat me. And he uses his HUD system. And he's able to predict all their punches. And he's like, boom, boom, boom. He's blocking all that shit, chat, and just throwing them around at this point. And it's like, God damn, how the fuck are we going to beat this guy? And thankfully, Chad, gravity helped him out a little bit because Idris Elba, he eventually gets knocked off the goddamn thing because all this fucking debris, all this CGI, practical effects, everything, Chad, the whole movie just starts crashing on itself and it destroys part of the truck and Idris Elba gets buried. But thankfully, his super smart bike is there to save him, Chad, and nestles into his thigh. It's right next to him, Chad. His super bike is always there to help him. But the truck's all fucked up, and the technology, so the Tum-Tum nanomachine extractor, it gets damaged. It gets damaged in the scene, so it's like, oh no, like it fell on the ground or some shit. And when they stop the car like several miles away, and they're like, oh no, we only have like 12 hours left. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, oh, we only have 12 hours left. So this is all the other stuff's happened in like 6 hours. Sure. Trip to London, to Moscow, planning this thing where you gave her over to Idris Elba, F-16, get the facility. Yeah, all in 6 hours. We only have 12 hours left. What are we going to do? And The Rock's like, the only thing we can do is like, we're not going to shoot my sister and burn her body. Even she's like, no, just option 2 is done. Shoot me, okay, and burn my body. And Deckard Shaw's like, we are not going to fucking do that, okay? We're not going to do that, right, The Rock? And The Rock's like, we're not going to do that, no. And she's like, it's the only way. I'm not going to be responsible for the deaths of all the people of the world. And Deckard Shaw's like, you know that our family has done some bad things, but we're not bad people. You are a bad person, Deckard Shaw. You killed Han, you son of a bitch, but okay, sure. And she's like, there's no other way. And The Rock's like, no, there is a way. And the only way that we can help you is with the power of family. And I imagine, Chad, a lot of people that heard the noise went, oh my fucking God, they're going to bring in Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Tej. They're going to help them out here. No, Han, he got better. I thought, wow, when he said we need family, I was like, holy fucking shit, they're going to come in. They're not. He means his real family, where they somehow, and this is crazy, we cut immediately to Samoa. We're in Samoa, chat. They're in a truck. And The Rock and Jason Statham are on the phone with Kevin Hart. And apparently, chat, Kevin Hart got them the fastest plane in the world and put them express trip from whoever the fuck Russia, I don't know, Petersburg, Schmuckerberg, Russia, where we are in Russia, chat, all the way to Samoa. How did he do this? I don't know. He just has this. He's a warlock. He's a warlock. Got him there. and they still have plenty of time over. It's like, that's not how time works. Basically, Chernobyl. They're basically in Chernobyl, which is in Ukraine, but I'll allow it, Russia. And he's on the phone. He's like, I can get you anything, man. All right, I can be a part of this team, okay? I can get you the jets. I can get you the cars. I can get you the helicopters. I can be there for you, man. And he's like, I'm a warlock. And we hear like a flushing toilet. And the Rocket just is like, are you in the bathroom? He goes, yeah, man. I could be anywhere at any time. You see he's actually taking a shit. He's like, hold on, man. My tummy hurts. Oh. And Jay Saban's like, shh, oh, interference, bye. And throws the Rock's phone out of the car. And the Rock's like, that was my fucking phone, you dick. He's like, I'm sorry, okay? You wouldn't shut up. Then just hit the button. Just hit the button. He's like, I didn't know where it was. I'm not used to these smartphones. Okay, I'm a flip phone guy. And he's like, all right. But we drive to the Hobbs compound, chat, where, Hobbs, he's super nervous. He hasn't seen his family in years, chat. His family's been mad at him because of his betrayal. He betrayed his birth family, chat. It's like, whoa, what happened? And he's like, oh, he's so nervous. He's at the front door, like, about to knock. And we see Vanessa Kirby and Jason Statham just like leaning. I love that because they have the same body language as each other, which I'm like, oh, that's really cool. They are siblings. Where he's like, all right, I'm gonna bet you right now, as soon as he opens that fucking door, he's gonna get punched in the fucking face. Vanessa Kirby's like, all right, you're on. And they both lean back in the same exact way. I was like, that's like really cool. I just love it. It's like, oh, it just makes you buy them as like siblings even more. Fucking even more than Deckard Shaw of Owen Shaw, I'd say. They have really, Vanessa Kirby and Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Jason Statham, they all have great chemistry in this movie. They sell these scenes. But The Rock knocks and the door opens and it's Cliff Curtis, chat. Cliff Curtis, who is probably the most ethnically mysterious man in the world. He's played Hispanics. He's played Latinos. He's played Indians. He's played Native Americans. He's played people of various South American ancestry, chat. He's played people of Samoan descent, Polynesian descent, but apparently he's from New Zealand, as you guys pointed out to me. But wow, he's everybody at this point. And he sees The Rock, he goes, bah! And he punches The Rock in the face. The Rock goes, oh. And Jason Statham like, fucking told you. And she's like, God damn it. And she pays him. I thought it was funny. And he's like, whoa, brother, whoa. I'm here I need your help. He's like, you have a lot of fucking balls to come here after what you did, after you betrayed the family. And he's like, I did it for good reasons, okay? I did it because her dad was a fucking asshole. He's like, don't talk about dad that way. He's like, we're gonna fucking throw down, bro. It's not how I wanted it to happen. He's like, well, we're gonna throw down. And all of a sudden, chat, this fucking flip-flop comes out of nowhere and goes, and just hits Cliff Curtis in the head. And he's like, ah. And then we cut, chat, and we see The Rock's mama. And she's like, you two stop fighting. You guys are brothers, and I will not stand for this. My baby has come home. And he's like, hi, mama. And the mama scene, she's great. Where they all go up there, they go inside. And apparently, like, are all of these The Rock's brothers? Because there's like 17 guys here. And it's like, I mean, mama's a big woman. And she's been birthing a lot of babies, chap, because Lord, I mean, her uterus must be hanging out at that point. It's like she's had a rough life. But mama's great. Rock's mama's great. She's very, very funny. And, Cliff Curtis and the brothers are all mad at The Rock. And she's like, listen, Cliff Curtis, stop being a fucking dick, okay? My baby has come home. And he's like, I think The Rock's the little brother, which I think is really, he's like, I think that's great. And Roman Reigns. Is Roman Reigns there too? I guess he's in the background. There's a lot of other Samoan and Polynesian actors in this scene. But at this point, she's like, listen, he came home. He's asking for help, and family helps family, okay? He's your little brother. You're his big brother, okay? So we're going to fucking help him, all right? And like what he did the right thing all the way back in the day, and you know it's true. He's like, fuck. All right, fine. We'll help you. What do you need? And The Rock says, listen, I need you, because this is like, it's so crazy. So the Hobbs family, they own like a custom car shop. And The Rock just is like, well, my brother, he can fix any car. Therefore, he can also fix experimental sci-fi nanomachine technology, chat. And the brother's like, what do you need me to do? I was like, I need you to fix this device that sucks nanomachines out of her tummy. He's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. I have a 3D printer, and that's all you need, chat. That's the only explanation you need, because 3D printers are so fucking cool and amazing. You can really make anything with them. If you have a 3D printer, you can do anything. It is an instant get-out-of-jail-free card in a film. It's like, oh, we'll just make it in the 3D printer. Shit, sounds good. And so they all go to the auto chop shop chat, the repair shop that they own, this huge fucking facility. And Vanessa Kirby's like asking about like The Rock and like, why does your family kind of hate you and stuff? Why is your brother so mean? Why is Cliff Kirby, why is that ethnic mysterious man so upset with you? And he goes, well, my father, he did a lot of time in jail, and he when he got out of jail, Mama had all these babies. And he wanted to use me and my brothers in all his schemes. Shit, he was a schemer. He stole cars. He stole anything. He was a criminal, which I would bet you. I'm betting you right now, chat. They're gonna have The Rock's dad as another future villain in this franchise. I just feel that's what's gonna happen, or he'll play like a role. They don't say he's dead, but it's like, I wouldn't be shocked if they do that. But I should play The Rock's dad. I don't think I could do that. I'd be like, my baby boy, how are you? I don't think that's going to work very well. Daddy. And he would constantly get us all involved in our schemes, his schemes and shit, and he was endangering us. And, to him, to Dad, the most dangerous job, the bigger payday. And we were just more of his crew than his actual family. And I said, fuck that. I eventually turned my dad in, and he's been in jail ever since. And my brothers all think I betrayed the family because I turned my dad in. Vanessa Kirby's like, your brothers are dicks for thinking that. You did the right thing. You saved your family, and I'm going to have all your babies. And he's like, I know, we'll do this later. And she says, fair enough. Once the nanomachines are under my tummy, then you put a baby inside me. She goes, yes. He's like, perfect. We're on the same page. And so Cliff Curtis looks at the sci-fi technology and is like, okay, cool. I'm going to use my 3D printer and fix this while you guys just prepare for Idris Elba to attack. Because Idris Elba goes to the director, and the director's like, well, looks like you were right, Idris Elba. Prepare our forces to invade Samoa. And they're like, all right. And so now they have, I don't know how many hours. Like, again, the time doesn't make any sense. Where it's like, okay, let's take the next 2 days. Like, what is time? They do all this. I don't know how this works. But they have enough time where they're able to do all these makeshift defenses around their car depot / chop shop chat. Like lay down these trails of gasoline, like war. Oh, that's the thing, because like we got to stop Idris Elba and his forces. And it's like, where are the guns, baby, bro? And it's like, and they go to the giant like sliding door that has all the weapons, but there's no guns there. And like The Rock looks at his mom and is like, Mama, where all the guns go? And he goes, I got rid of them. And it's all filled with like Maori, Samoan, Polynesian, like, ancient war weapons and shit, like wooden clubs and axes and stuff. And he's like, all right, we're gonna go fucking old school on their asses. Jason Statham, you up for this? Vanessa Kirby, you up for this? She's like, okay. And so they're all rocking these ancient Maori weapons, chat. But they lay down some traps, chat. They have like these gasoline, kerosene trails. They have these improvised explosives. They have propane and propane accessories, chat. Hank Hill, he comes in and says, I'll tell you what. I'll sell you all this shit at no extra cost. They're like, fuck yeah, you're the part of the family, Hank Hill. Hell yeah. And they lay down all these propane traps. And then they go down this entire fucking dirt road, which is like for a mile, and they dig like a shit ton of holes in them, and they put like a propane explosive in each hole. And it's like, they all did this apparently, chat, in about 25 minutes, I assume. It was very quick. Mama Rock, apparently Mama Hobbs, chat, she birthed a lot of babies in her time, and she has a lot of, just children. And they can all do this very quickly, Bane, okay? Pretty much. After that, like, they're like, okay, we had some downtime. Vanessa Kirby, she's overlooking the Samoan view and her final sunset, as she says. And again, it's like, how long have we been here? How much time do we have left? It doesn't, like, do we have like 12 hours or like 20 minutes? It doesn't make any sense. From this time, chat, so from before they left London, they had 18 hours. So in London, Moscow to here, it's been like 18 hours. Not even that. Not even 18 hours. It's been maybe like 10 hours. Time doesn't make any sense. Whatever. But she's looking at the sunset, and she's like, I want to watch the sunset before. It might be my last one. The Rock's like, don't say that. We're going to save your life. Obviously, we're going to get the machine to work. We're going to defeat Idris Elba. We're going to take on the director. Don't worry about it. And she's like, I really, really just want to smooch you. And they have a nice little smooch. And he's like, ah! He's like, whoa. And he's like, do you want to do that again? She's like, I'm going to save that for next time, okay? Okay, the sex happens once the nanomachines are out of my tummy. He's like, cool. And so we cut to the compound, the Hobbs compound, where Cliff Curtis has repaired the nanomachine extractor, chat. He's got it going. They plug it into Vanessa Kirby, chat. They plug it into Hattie, and it goes, she's like, oh, and it starts sucking all the nanomachines out of her. And they're like, it's working, but the process will take 30 minutes to do so. And she only has 33 minutes. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker, chat. 30 minutes to do so. She only has 33 minutes until the nanomachines are released and enter inside of her and goes, and it infects the world in a week. And so, but thankfully, they have 3 minutes to spare, so fantastic. That's great. But oh no, Chad, by the way, it is pitch black outside. It's like midnight. It's midnight, and they see that, oh shit, Idris Elba and the Etienne guys, they're coming. And so they all go outside, and they set up like these makeshift fireworks where they're all going off, so they know that they're coming. And here's the other thing. Here's the other kicker. Like Hetty, she's a master hacker, and I forgot to mention this in the movie. All of the Etienne weapons are like coded to like the employee's fingerprints and shit. So the only way you could be able to fire a weapon is if your employee encoded the fingerprints. However, that's the fatal flaw, because Hetty, she, in her time spent at the super secret Russian facility, she learned how to hack into the weapons, and she'll be able to shut them down for 6.5 minutes. 6.5 minutes. Okay, great. That's great. I think they say it's the crack of dawn at the moment. Still don't explain to somebody. The sun's behavior is, it's pitch black outside, okay? Time means nothing in this movie. It's nighttime. That's what I know. Again, time is the villain in this film, along with Idris Elba. And so all this shit starts going off, and Idris Elba and his boys, they all park their Humvees out there. They'll get their weapons ready. And The Rock, he walks out, and he starts doing like that Maori, that Samoan like intimidation dance. I forget what it's called, the haku or something like that. And they'll start doing that. And I'm like, is Idris Elba just gonna watch them do this? He's like, open fire. He's like, no, fuck it. But thing is, chat, Hattie, she's like all like a little drugged up too, because she's got all the nanomachines being extracted. She presses the button, all their weapons shut down. And The Rock's like, you fucking messed with the wrong family, punk buster. Oh shit, Idris Elba busta, chat. And they unleash the gasoline trap. Shit all goes out and separates Idris Elba's men. And The Rock, they do the haku dance, whatever the fuck it's called, and they just rush these guys with the mirror weapon. They go, ah! And it's like Lord of the Rings, chat, which make, it's like it's a scene from like when the Rohirrim rode in to help Gondor, chat. Gondor calls for aid, and it's like the same equivalent, chat, as the Rohirrim. In this case, it's The Rock and his very large family fighting the forces of Idris Elba, chat. And they run in there and they start beating the shit out of everybody. Idris Elba still is the Black Superman, chat, so he's just throwing people around. And then, like, we cut, and now it's daytime. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, it's literally like daytime. There's clouds, there's blue skies, the sun is high in the sun, like in the sky. It's like, what the fuck happened? Why is it it was nighttime and now it's daytime? By the way, we cut to Hattie, and she's all, because she's a little like derpy now because of all the drugs that's being pumped into her. And she somehow wanders onto the battlefield, and Idris Elba just sees her and goes, yoink, takes her, and with a couple of his boys, and they board a helicopter, and they fly away. The Rock and Jason Statham see this and like, oh, fucking shit, we gotta go after her. So The Rock, he stays on the truck, back of the truck with all these huge fucking chains with these hooks on him, while Jason Statham, he drives the fucking car. They get underneath the helicopter, and The Rock literally goes, ah! He goes, ah! He throws these chains which instantly wrap around one of the helicopter's, like, I don't know, metallic parts and shit. And he just almost like, what the fuck just happened? And it literally, the car starts like dragging the helicopter while it's flying in the air. The thing is, he's almost like, fuck this bullshit, take up, go up. The guy's like, no, if we go up, then we'll crash. He's like, get out of the way. Where Idris Elba literally grabs the guy's head, crushes it, pushes him out the door of the helicopter, chat, and says, take some time off, and then starts to lift the helicopter, which causes the truck to lift up in the air. And The Rock is just like, we're gonna need some fucking backup. Thank God, chat, because 3 other cars come up right next to The Rock. And so Cliff Curtis, what he does is like, don't worry, brother. He somehow uses these hooks to connect his car to The Rock and Jason Statham's car to give them more weight, because we gotta bring the helicopter down and save Vanessa Kirby. But it's not enough, chat. And so they're like, okay, we need fucking, I don't know, Another brother. So another truck comes by, chat. I guess Roman Reigns' car comes by, and he hooks his car up to Cliff Curtis's car, which is connected to the Rock and Jason Statham's car, chat. But that's not enough, because it still gets lifted in the air. So there's 3 cars right now still being lifted in the air. And so this other guy comes in. He drives going like, don't worry, brother, I got it. And he hooks his car up to Roman Reigns' car, who is connected to Cliff Curtis's car, which is connected to Jason Statham in the Rock's car, which is connected to a helicopter. This is being piloted by Idris Elba. And it's just enough, chat. And then they drive down this fucking road, which is just filled with propane accessories, chat. And it takes out all of Idris Elba's Humvees, and they all start exploding, so all those cars are gone. It's like, good. But the thing is, Idris Elba's like, fuck this, I am done. We're going to take him out. And because they're over a cliffside, and he swings the helicopter over, causing all the cars, the exception of one, which is piloted by, being driven by one guy, like by only 2 wheels. He's like, shit, we're going to lose this, brother. And the chain snaps, the one that's connecting of the Rock and Jason Statham's car to Idris Elba's car. The Rock's like, fuck that, it's fine. He grabs that chain as he's about to leave, grabs onto the truck, and using his muscular brown Samoan physique, chat, manages to go, and literally holds the helicopter like a fucking kite while all the cars manage to get back on the road. He then hooks it. Haku, whatever it's called, cancel. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. He hooks it back to the truck, chat, and then they start like reeling in like a fucking fish. Vanessa Kirby, she tries to jump out. Each of them was like, fuck no, you won't, bitch. But then the helicopter starts to like, oh no, it's all wobbly, and it goes over the edge. Along with the Rock and Jason Statham's car. The other 3 brothers are okay. Cliff Curtis, Roman Reigns, the other one, they're fine. But they go over the fucking edge, chat, and this big storms are coming, chat. Big storms are brewing. And they crash. And this is we get like it's like the scene from The Lion King, chat, where Scar and Simba are like fucking going at it. It's like pretty cool. It crashes, fire and shit, rain and everywhere. It's all water everywhere. Here's Elba. He wakes up. He sees Vanessa Kirby, the nanomachine extractor. It's like it needs like 2 more minutes to extract all the nanomachines out of her tummy. And he gets his one. He's like, hey, you, the other helicopter pilot that survived. He's like, get up. As soon as that thing is done extracting the nanomachines from her tummy, I want you to fucking shoot her in the head, okay? He's like, yeah, shoot her in the head. Well, I'm going to go have a death battle with The Rock and Jason Statham. And so Jason Statham, The Rock, and Idris Elba, they fucking throw down. It's fucking pouring rain. They're going at it and shit, and Idris Elba's just kicking his ass. It's like both their asses. They don't stand a chance. Meanwhile, Vanessa Kirby, she notices that the the nanomachine extracto machine is done, and she distracts the guy. She goes, hey, you seem to be new here, aren't you? She does the whole thing, like the 3rd time. And she takes an exposed wire in the helicopter, and she puts it into some gasoline, chat, some gasoline, if you will, which this guy is promptly standing in. And he goes, pfft, and he explodes, chat. He gets set on fire, and then he explodes. And then she runs over to help The Rock and Jason Statham. Jason Statham, The Rock, realized, oh shit, he's beating us with his super halo eyes and technology. The only way we can actually beat him is if we truly work together. We gotta be brothers. And they do the fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger Carlitos bro fist, like, yeah! And they're like, let's fucking do this. And in slow motion and really cool choreography, chat, they team up and beat the fucking shit out of Idris Elba, chat. He's like, until he's all malfunctioning. He's like, does not compute, beep bop, beep boop. And then the director who's observing this, he's like, oh shit, you ain't shit, Idris Elba. This isn't working, man. And he's talking to him in his head. And The Rock and Jason Statham, they're like, they beat Idris Elba. Idris Elba's like, you're finally gonna finish me off. You're gonna shoot me like you did all those years ago, Deckard. And Deckard is like, listen, I've done some things I'm not proud of, but I'm no murderer. Fucking liar. I'm not going to shoot you. And he throws the gun on the ground. But it's okay, though, because the director says, like, well, Idris Elba, you've outlived your usefulness, so I'm just going to shut you down. And we see on Idris Elba's HUD, like these numbers come out 30 seconds. He's like, so that's how it is then, ain't it? And it gets to 0, and he goes, beep, bop, beep. And he then falls backwards into the ocean, chat. Out of sight, out of mind, just gone. Again, didn't see him actually die. They're going to bring him back for a sequel. It's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you this is what's going to be this is what's going to happen, chat. He's been betrayed by the organization he fell in love with, what he wanted to work for, betrayed by the man who helped him, gave him a robo spine, all that shit. Been betrayed by Deckard Shaw. What's going to happen is he's going to wash up on the beach. Some Samoan woman's going to find him, nurse him back to health. He's going to fall in love, and he's going to want to make amends for the stuff that he did in this movie, and he's going to join them in the next film as a brother. He's going to join the family. I'm telling you right now, that's how it's going to happen. That's how it's going to happen. He was a robot. He's basically a cyborg. He's a cyborg. And then, you know, Vanessa Kirby's like, the nanomachines are out of my tummy, and The Rock's like, yes, let's go make a baby, and they go off. Everyone's really happy. We then cut chat to, it's like later, and The Rock has taken his little daughter Pebble to visit the family, and she's like, I love you, Grandma. She's like, I love you too, Pebble. And they hug, and it's very emotional. We then cut to the UK chat, out England, where Jason Statham and Vanessa Kirby go visit their mother, Cruella DeVille, and they give her a C4 cake, and they say, please, you know, use this, and we're going to break you out of jail. And we get the one last joke from Vanessa Kirby. She goes to the guards, like, you seem new here. So they proceed to break her out, saying why Helen Mirren is obviously free in F9. We then cut to the very end, where Ryan Reynolds has basically performed the hallway Daredevil fight from season 1 and is beating these guys up with a fucking fire extinguisher, calls The Rock and says, hey, listen, I know you took care of the virus from before, but there's this other new virus where instead of melting your insides, it melts from the outside in, and I could really help. I could use your help right now. But then he's like, "Is this Ryan Reynolds? Oh, Pebble, I'm sorry. You sound like your dad. You sound just like each other. Can you put your dad on? Pebble, you need to put your dad on." Rock's like, "This is me, goddammit." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You sound just like your daughter." He's like, "What the fuck do you want?" He's like, I need your help with this new virus thing. Hey, by the way, did you see the Game of Thrones finale? Can you believe that shit with Jon Snow, like, sleeping with his aunt? It's crazy, man. Hello? Can I be in the next movie? Hello? And that, my friends. Oh, no, it's not. That's not over. It's not over yet. We then cut there's like 3 end credits. We then cut to the very last end credit stinger where Shaw, he's in the pub, he's drinking some beers and shit, having a great time. The Rock calls him, and he goes, hey, man, what's up? He's like, you need me for a mission, Hobbs? And he goes, nah, man, just checking up, see, how you doing? And all of a sudden, Chad, we hear, like, these sirens, like, outside the pub, and I'm like, sir, Hugh Anus, step out of the pub right now. He's like, Hugh Anus? He's like, The Rock's like, oh, yeah, I looked up various aliases that are currently wanted by, like, Interpol, and I thought that, I'll give them a tip that you were there. He's like, you fucking wanker. He's like, better luck next time, Buster. And he hangs up the phone. And then Shaw walks up. He's like, boys, this isn't going to go how you planned. And then, chat, we cut to the end. And that, my friends, is Fast and Furious, heavy emphasis on that, chat, presents Hobbs and Shaw, chat. Hobbs and Shaw. That is the end. As I said before, I think this movie is pretty, for the most part, very well directed, chat. Action scenes are great. Love the cinematography. Love the choreography, chat. There's not a single bad action scene. There's not a single bad chase scene. As fucking over the top and dumb as they may be, it's well done. I like the use of color in this movie, especially. It gives you an understanding, like, okay, where these characters are when you have, like, multiple fight scenes happening in different areas. Like, I really like that. David Leitch is very good at doing that in all of his films. I like the introduction of new characters. Vanessa Kirby, I think, is kind of like the standout. I think she's really funny. I love her chemistry with both Jason Statham and The Rock, and pretty much anything else that's on screen. Like, she becomes natural. I want to see her in more of these movies. I hope she is in more of these movies because she's so goddamn good. My only big criticism, I like the cameos of Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart. They were both very funny. Except that last Game of Thrones joke. I was like, that feels so dated at this point. So dated. Judas, thank you so much for resubscribing. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Judas. He pulled a Bart Simpson. It's exactly what he did. No question about it. But the thing that I think this is like, and it's too bad because they are good together, but not all the humor hits, and that can drag down a movie for me. Where The Rock and Jason Statham have a great sense of camaraderie. They have chemistry, but a lot of the jokes, a lot of the back and forth between them, they don't always hit. And it's like, like you've cut like half of this out, you'd have some really good stuff. It's almost too much. Again, it's that kind of middle school, like we're on the playground, just going back, like you're a poopy head, you're a doo-doo head. It's like, guys, it's a little too much. And I wish they cut that out. Like, you could probably have it even a shorter film. If you cut some of that stuff out and you just had the right amount, you'd be golden. But it's still a really fun movie. Like, I had a blast watching this. It's not the best in the franchise. Like, if I were to rank this right now, like, my rating, I would personally give this probably, I don't know, I'd give this like a high matinee. I give this as like a high matinee. It's a really entertaining high matinee chat. So if I were to rank this in the franchise, it would still go Furious 7's number 1. And this is, I'm counting this among the Fast Furious franchise. Furious 7's number 1. Fast and Furious 6 is number 2. Fast 5 is number 3. Then I'd put Hobbs and Shaw. I'd put Hobbs and Shaw, and then I would go with the Fast and the Furious. After that, I would then put what is it? Maybe not. No. I put above. I don't know. The Fast Furious is hard. I was sick of that. So Furious 7, Fast Furious 6, Fast 5, Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious 4, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and Too Fast, Too Furious. Those are my rankings as of right now. Again, the Fast and Furious and Hobbs and Shaw, that's kind of like, it's going back and forth in my head. But that's what I would rank it. Christian, think of buddies. What I love about the first Stinger is that they filmed that after the Pixel Photography edited. They went back to shoot the scene like a month before the movie came out, and that's how bad the end of Game of Thrones is. Yeah, you forgot Fate. I forgot Fate. You're right. Oh shit. Okay, let me do. Sorry, Chad. Let me do this. It's a lot of movies to keep track of. I'm sorry. I forgot Fate because Fate's kind of forgettable. Okay, Furious 7, Fast and Furious 6, Fast 5. I'll say Hobbs and Shaw for right now. The Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious 4, then the Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and then Too Fast, Too Furious. Those are my rankings. My villain rankings, chat. My villain rankings. This is hard. This is really hard. Time is up there now. I would say the villains of this movie are Time and Father Time and Idris Elba. As Brixton. And the director, I forgot the other scene too. I'm sorry, chat. So at the end of the movie, when Idris Elba is shut down, the director calls Hobbs. He's like, because he's on the fucking helicopter, like, comm system. And he goes, Hobbs. And he's like, you must be the director of Eti. And he's like, yes, Hobbs. And you'll be seeing me real soon, old friend. And Hobbs is like, what? He's like, we'll come together and we'll beat you, whoever you are. He's like, oh, we'll see. And then he leaves. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is. I get it's probably going to be Keanu Reeves because that's who they intended to be the voice of the director. Ryan Reynolds voices the director of the movie. But I'm guessing they're going to bring in Keanu Reeves as a villain in the next movie or possibly in Fast 10 or Fast 11. I think that's what it's going to be. But if I were to rank the villains, I guess I'm not going to include the director because there's not enough with him. So I'm just going to do Idris Elba and Time. So I would still say, man, Deckard Shaw is just so fucking cool. In Fury 7, it's really hard. So I'm gonna still. It's hard though, man. Like Idris Elba, I'm Black Superman, all that shit. Like that's real. I mean, he's so over the top. I love it. Can't play a villain? Probably. It's gonna be ridiculous. No, I know I'm Xavier. He has played a villain. He has played a villain. And I forget what the movie's called, but he made a great fucking villain in where he played like this hick Southerner. I'm trying to remember. I forgot the movie, but he has done it before. The Gift? No, not The Gift. I forget what it was called. Maybe it was The Gift. I don't remember. But anyway, if I were to rank the villains, I'm gonna still say Deckard Shaw, then Idris Elba. I'll say Idris Elba, then Time. Actually, no. I'm gonna go Deckard Shaw, Father Time, Idris Elba. Then I'll go with. Oh boy. I'll go with Owen Shaw, I suppose. I go with Owen Shaw at that point. Then after, I'm sorry, the truck driver from Fast and Furious 1 and 4. The truck driver, Owen Shaw. After Owen Shaw, I would probably put Braga. After Braga, I'm going to go with DK. And then after that, I'll go with maybe, I don't know, either Johnny Tran or Cypher. I'll go Cypher, Johnny Tran, and then Crouton. Those are my rankings, chat. Those are my rankings of the villains. Whoo! Yes, the Sam Raimi one. Yes, he was great in that movie. What happened to the actor that played Owen Shaw? Luke Evans? Right? They're like, he's not in the movie. They want to erase him. They're doing some retconning. I was like, where's all the Shaw siblings? Yeah, Gaston. Yeah, Gaston. But that's my ranking, Chef. I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed my review for Hobbs and Shaw. Full price, 5 Carmi Hazel suffering, serving in the background. Yay! Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure that car exploded. It did explode, Carmi Hazel. It did. Oh, Lord, Chef. Now, that was a long one, too. I knew it'd be a long one. Where does this movie rank? It ranks, it's like my 4th favorite, I'd say. I think it's right above The Fast and the Furious and right below Fast 5. That's how it is. I gave it a high matinee. High matinee. I really enjoyed it. I know some people didn't like this. I know actually quite a few people that weren't a big fan of this movie, and it has some issues. It does. If they just cut down on some of the back and forth between Hobbs and Shaw, I think you could have had a much better movie. But you cut out, keep the best bits, but take out the worst bits. Small thing I want to give the movie credits that I didn't realize till the end. Vanessa Kirby really does look like she could be Helen Mirren. Yeah, they look exactly alike. It was like, oh shit, yeah, totally. That was good casting on their part. I hope she's in the sequel, chat, because I really like Vanessa. I was like, god damn, just rewatching, you're really good in this movie. So, I don't know. That's just me. But chat, I'm gonna take a quick break. So ready on the DT scale? Oh, high matinee. I give it a high matinee. I really dug it. I had fun with it. It has some issues, but it's entertaining. High matinee. Not quite a full price. But chat, I'm going to take a brief break. I'm going to go ahead and get me I'm going to get myself a lemonade, chat. I know I'm going to drink the rest of this cold brew. So please entertain yourselves. Meantime, chat, we're going to come back, and we're going to be doing a watch party for Loki, chat, episode 3. No spoilers, because I've not seen it yet. I'll explain the rules for the watch parties, but stick around, my friends. I shall return.